Every time I try and use a picture of D as the thumbnail, it fucking freaks out. Won't let me do it. Well, let me do it. Oh man, oh man. Afternoon. Hello. What it do? What it do? How are you? How are you? Welcome to today's A Really Big Show. Actually, I don't know that it'll be a really big show. We'll see. We'll see what happens with today. I tried to use a picture of Dynor for the thumbnail for this, but it fucking screwed me out of it. And now I'm pissed because it's just gonna have a default thumbnail on it. I'm gonna have to go back and change it. Ugh. I don't want to do work. What's up, Otello? How you doing, my friend? Otello's my Maximus, dude. That is why it must be you, Maximus. Your Grace, I'm a soldier, not a king, not an emperor. That is why it must be you, Maximus. I sincerely think Vosh poisoned the minds of leftists. He has emboldened confidence in the system, which is the last thing that we need. I kind of want to say that's a little bit uncharitable, like, because I think it's assuming Vosh's intentions. Like, I don't think that Vosh thinks he's doing something nefarious. Like, I really don't buy this idea that, you know, Vosh is, like, out there actually trying to fucking turn leftist revolutionary passion into votes for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris cyclically forever. I want to say that the dude has a red line and that eventually maybe he'll reach it and he'll join the ranks of the people that don't participate or don't participate in the same way, you know, anymore. So I want to give him the benefit of the doubt when it comes to that he's not doing this in some kind of like psyop or whatever to funnel people away. However, functionally, how is it different? So despite his whatever his intentions might be, whether you're the type of person that likes to see your ideological opponents as you know, bad intentioned all the time, or whether you're the type of person like me that likes to try and look at a person as an individual and look at their output and see what they put out and give them the benefit of the doubt, which oftentimes blows up in your face like I do. You know, you have to make that decision for yourself, but I would caution you on just writing off people's intentions. The road to hell is paved in good intentions. You know what I mean? And so my intentions, though pure as the driven snow, might be just every bit as destructive as TJ called them yesterday. Now, I don't believe that they are. If I believed that they were, I wouldn't espouse them to the people that watch me. Like, dead honest, I would not. So if I honestly believed that the message that I was putting out was damaging to the people that I care about, which is average working people, immigrants, indigent, mentally ill, people in the global south, people here in America that need food and water and healthcare now, those are the people that I fucking care about outside of my family, right? So
And it just comes back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs again. But ultimately, is happening is most people aren't getting their basic needs met.
right.
And that should be fundamental before everything else.
Right. There's no
fed and housed and healthy.
Right. And I don't believe that the current system is going to churn that out in time, if it ever does, in time to stop the coming fucking shit. And so if we want to have a chance at this, we have to do some radical fucking leftist action. Some radical participation in democracy. Like, we've got to start showing up and showing the DNC that we have no confidence that they have any intention upon addressing any of the issues that we care about. The degradation of the environment, the degradation of the global south, the continuation of crony capitalism, the continuation of a money-soaked system, the continuation of for-profit healthcare and for-profit prisons, the continuation of shady business deals with countries that mean us harm, the continuation of constant military operations to position ourselves geopolitically. These are the fundamentals that I stand on as a leftist. These are the things I want to see change. These are the things I think holding back all of the things that I didn't mention: social progress, economic progress, freedom from debt, all of those things being held back by a system that's perpetuated by two parties, a duopoly that has no interest in fixing it because they're both taking donations from the same people. Donald Trump blew that out of the water during the fucking elections when they asked him about, what did you donate to Clinton? He said, and he was right too. He said, I think you'll see that year I also voted to Clinton's opponent, or I also donated to Clinton's opponent, because that's what business people do. So what do you think that's for?
Cynic's little contribution.
You beat the Canadian Führer for first. Hey, Cynic, look at you. Thank you. What a guy. Your day in the sun, Cynic. Your day in the sun. But, whatever. I may be wrong about everybody, and I may be wrong about everything, but at the very least, I stand on principle. At the very least, I do what I believe is right. At the very least, I call the issues like I see them. At the very least, I spend day after day after day engaged with people that hate my fucking guts and think I'm an idiot. And, because at the end of it comes something that I feel is actionable. Something that I think matters for the 40% of us that don't vote and are called apathetic by nature because of it. There are people out there that want to say that the reason that 40% of people or 45% of people, depending on the electoral cycle, don't show up to fucking vote is apathy. That's not necessarily true. It might be true for some people. Certainly isn't true of me. I didn't stop voting due to apathy. I stopped voting because I didn't want to sign my name next to any more DNC war criminals who promised me one thing and gave me dog shit. Well, I appreciate that about you, at least thus far, Jamie, is that, you and I disagree on things, but I don't think you've ever come right out and painted me as some kind of moron or something. You know what I mean? And that, can't be said for a lot of people who oppose my kind of perspective. There's a very quick descent towards, just personal attacks and degrading my intelligence and attempting to infantilize my argument. That is it's so rote to me that it's expected. So it's actually refreshing to bump into somebody who doesn't agree with my tactics or tact, but doesn't feel the need to call me a fucking moron for it. Because I'll tell you what, dude, I'm not some kind of fucking political genius. I don't paint myself as one, but I'm not a fucking moron. Say what you want about me. I'm not disingenuous, and I'm not a moron. If I bring something to you, I don't kayfabe my way through political things. I don't kayfabe my way through fucking important social issues or important political issues. You know what I mean? I answer. I tell you what I believe, and you can always count on that with me. You can't count on me agreeing with you. You can't count on me joining you in whatever action it is you feel is important, but you can count on me to say what the fuck I believe and to stand on those principles that I talked about. And that should count for something. I've debated conservatives, and all they do is call me a commie and hippie and woke. So stop debating conservatives. Where can I find any of these debates that, you know what I mean? Like, what did you do but waste your time? Like, I think debates are important to do if they are sanctioned and properly fucking advertised, and you hype it up and you get people in there and you get like a good moderator that and a good set of rules that both sides agree on, and a topic that both sides agree to stay within the bounds of, and equal time. It can be very interesting. But this, like, going at each other on the internet over Discord is not a fucking debate. It's an argument. It's a cat fight on the internet. And, like, as much as I want to fucking engage in that sometimes, let's not fucking raise it to the level of a debate. I haven't seen an actual debate online in the mainstream left, other than that fucking modern day debates channel, which does kind of run a specifically fucking, hey, here's the topic, here's the two people, here's the positions they'll be taking, equal time, moderated fucking interruptions, all that shit.
It's like the presidential debates weren't even really debates.
Not even close. Like you've said, I don't like debates. I like discussions, the bouncing of ideas off each other, engaging in ideas you don't necessarily agree with. Of course, there's nothing wrong with that. I've seen internet debates better than the presidential ones. Yeah, me too. Presidential debates are a fucking joke.
They're a sideshow.
Yeah, like the presidency itself.
Like, you look at these spinning pinwheels and jumping jacks and.
Dun, 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 dun. You know what kind of debate I want to see? Lock the two candidates in a room together without food or water and have a table between them and say, work out your issues for the American people. And the door will unlock. Would you like to play a little game? There are locks electronically engaged on both doors out of this room. The only way that you can leave is that one of you kill the other, or you come to understand one another genuinely. Let's get fucking Jigsaw on the case. And let us listen in on that shit. I didn't get you right away. Paul took time. Okay. Good. Spiral hype? Nah, bro. Nah. That's unironically way better than the system we have now. Yeah. I mean, dude, Jamie, I don't know if you've ever seen like British, quote unquote, town hall meetings. But like, if you haven't, go try and find. I don't know if they televise them anymore in Great Britain, but when Tony Blair was a minister, they used to do these televised BBC town hall meetings where it was actually like angry fucking people from the community that would talk to the prime minister, and they would wait their turn, and then they'd stand up and they'd be like, I want to know when you're going to fucking address this. But like, he would sit there sweating balls, like alone on the stage, like listening to this shit. And I would like to know when we're going to have Gruyere cheese back on the menu at restaurants. I would like to know, sir. I deserve an answer. And Tony Blair would be like, well, sir, I will look into it. I promise you that, and, but what's your position on Gruyere, sir? What is your position on Gruyere cheese, sir? I cannot take a position on Gruyere. You will take a position on Gruyere. The audience demands it. The people of England demand it. Just spending the love. Always appreciate your voice. I'm all in, no confidence, and I live in a swing state to boot, so that should piss off the Voting Matters crowd. Yeah. Oh, it will. You're going to get it extra hard, bro. You're a frontline soldier, so yeah, thank you for that. I appreciate it. I'm so sorry. My phone was on my chest. Did not mean to do that. What are you talking about?
Don't know.
I don't know what he did. Maybe he said some shit.
Otello wasn't having it, so.
Yeah.
A one-word comment.
Yeah, that's fine. It's no big deal. No worries.
Yeah, it's just the time. That's fine.
So they're simply not willing to take a position to the people who elected them. No, I mean, I was just using that as a fucking example. Like,
Yeah.
they get raucous and rowdy, and there's like an actual back and forth, and it's not like a plant out there that's like, "Hello, President Obama. It is my greatest honor to speak to you today. I would like to ask, as a person who believes in peace in the Middle East, what you think about bringing that dream to life. Thank you so much." You know, it's like, "Oh, fuck you, Tony Blair. When are we gonna stop supporting the fucking Yanks? Eh?" You know, I mean, there's some real shit. Tony'd sit there like for an hour and a half, like mopping his brow and like, you know, I'll do my best. I'll do my best. You know, at the very least, he had to face the fucking general population. You know, he had to face the public and hear the actual voices, not the vote, not just tally the votes of, but hear the actual voices of the people that they're going to go represent and hear them out too. None of this fucking like, I dominate the time and you get 5 seconds for a question and then I get to pontificate and tell you a bunch of lies anymore. No. Real fucking town halls. Rowdy ass fucking shit. Hell yeah. Fuck these pussified politicians that live in this carefully crafted corporate bubble throughout an entire thing where they just only do fucking planned public appearances for photo ops and shit. Fuck that. National lottery, dude. In every state, or a state level lottery, and 50 states, 50 debates. How about that? How about we add that to the platform? 50 states, 50 debates leading up to the goddamn election. One in each goddamn state. All town hall style. Where both fucking candidates show up, go at each other in a moderated way, and then sit down and hold a fucking town hall with actual people who are drawn by lottery from that state. Not friends of their family, not friends of whatever the venue is, not political operatives, people from the fucking world who are paid, who have their expenses paid to come to the fucking debate from wherever in the state they live, or paid their wage, and get to come and participate in the debate, and are allowed to ask fucking questions of the candidates. Boom. See, anything to me to rake these people over the coals, because they control the media narrative. That's how AOC gets away with fucking functionally doing nothing while pretending that she's some kind of slay queen on Twitter. You know what I mean? Get her in front of a group of angry constituents of hers who she promised she would get Medicare for all for, and explain her reasoning behind not using fucking the squad to force the vote as a voting block. Hear her make excuses for why now that the fucking Democrats control the House, the Senate, and the presidency, why we need to wait or bargain or bide our time any goddamn fucking more. And see what she comes up with. Not a calculated prefab question. She doesn't do great with those either, but not a prefab, pre-approved question from some media outlet. Let her sit in front of her constituency and hear what they have to say about how their lives have not improved since she's been in fucking power. Because she's functionally done nothing for them or anybody else. And then film the whole fucking thing. Get good close-ups on them and let's see them sweat it out. Let me look in their fucking eyes. Let me see their eyes when this fucking question comes that they're not prepped for. Let me see them unprepped and in the moment answering questions about what they believe and plan to do. And let me see their eyes while you're doing it. AOC is actually one of the least effective members of Congress, according to a fucking nonpartisan report that comes out every fucking congressional cycle that Democrats make hay with all the fucking time. She's somewhere near the bottom. She's like in the bottom 3 or bottom 5 fucking members of the House of Representatives. She's functionally done nothing, Jamie. She's brought up a bunch of fucking bills that have never left committee. So never even been voted on, let alone brought to the House floor for a debate. And she has been on Twitter a bunch. What else has she done? And don't tell me raised a bunch of money for Texas, because she didn't do that in her capacity as a fucking House of Representatives person. She did that as a Twitter celebrity. She could have done that without being in the House of Representatives. What has she done legislatively since she's been in office? I'll wait. Other than ensure that she and the other fucking progressives, as she calls herself in the caucus, fundamentally make sure that Medicare for All doesn't even have a chance of getting into any of the must-pass bills that we have at the beginning of the Biden presidency. Functionally blocked all that shit so that they can hem and haw about it for the next 4 years and then drop the strap. Don't tell me she's done shit and then put a sleepy face in my fucking chat unless you're willing to bring some examples of shit that she's done. What has she done? One of the least effective members of Congress has never brought a single piece of legislation out of committee in the entire time she served, 2 years.
Like, she's not even in the top 25 freshmen Congress exceeding expectations.
Right. There are people that whose names, Jamie, you probably don't even know, who are more functional Congress people for the things that you advocate for than fucking AOC is. And they suck too. She had a photo op outside of the cages at the border, only when the Republicans were in power, though. When the Democrats are in power and there are still cages at the border, she justifies the cages at the border by trying to claim that they're somehow fundamentally different than the Trump cages. She doesn't have the ability to do so, then get her the fuck out. You don't understand politics, Jamie, if you don't think she has the ability to do so. There's a slim margin in Congress, which means if she and the squad don't toe the line in the House, they can hold up all kinds of legislation and get concessions from the libs. They have chosen thus far to do none of that. And just go party line, yes, vote yes, vote yes, vote yes. Trust me, especially if you get her together with Rashida Tlaib and fucking the whole squad. So don't come in here telling fairy tales, Jamie. She has immense power. There is a slim margin in the House, which means that if she doesn't toe the line, nothing gets through. Which means that she can get concessions from the libs, like Medicare for All, like canceling student loan debt, like monthly stipends for people during the pandemic, etc., etc., etc. Don't tell me she ain't got no fucking power. I know how politics work. I know what a voting block is in a slim margin House. I've lived through them. Anything else? You want to praise AOC anymore, or are you functionally done with that? They already get concessions before these bills are even put forth wrong. People that like Joe Mannion, stop any, you're talking about Joe Manchin? Yeah, stop any policy that she gets in these bills. She doesn't get any policy in those bills. It was studied. She's not appended to any bills that have passed either. She hasn't co-signed any bills that have gotten to the fucking House floor. She's done nothing. She does nothing but caucus with the Democrats, Jamie. Her fucking voting record is right in front of you. You can go and read it, and it is functionally the same as Nancy Pelosi's voting record. She has not ever gotten a piece of legislation through the committee process. That means she takes it to a committee and it's killed in committee by her own party. Committees that other squad members sit on. She can't get it through. Go look into it, Jamie. I'm not selling you a ball of fucking lies here. I know you're enamored with AOC. Everybody seems to be. But let's look at the functional fucking reality. She's done nothing but talk and blab and tweet. Look into it. Yeah, please do. Stop making hay for people who are working against you and people like you. Mum's the word on the squad using any of their power to force any votes on any of this and get any concessions out of the center corporatist right Biden administration. They got like 5-6 votes right there in a one, or is it 1 or 2 margin in the House? 2, right?
Let me look. I feel like it's bigger than that. So.
It's 2, right?
It's 6.
Right. So they've got enough votes to stalemate the whole fucking Congress out if the whole squad gets in on it. And get together and decide to do it as a voting block and say, nothing gets passed until you work this in. You make overtures towards this. You get some relief to these people. You get some fucking payments out. You're going to tack on this or it's not going through. Be an obstructionist in that Congress. Get out there and fight. For fuck's sake. Joe Manchin does what AOC and the squad does, but for the wrong reason. He stalemates in favor of Republicans all the time. He's more powerful than Biden by the looks of it. Sure. So just stop carrying water for these people that do nothing for you functionally. Trans people's lives are not better in this country because Joe Biden is the president. Chat be crazy this run. I kicked the hornet's nest, dude. A lot of people with a bee in their bonnet tonight. That's good. That's how I like people. I like people with a bee up in their bonnet.
I think the one thing I've heard her actually do was FEMA funds for COVID-19 funerals.
I mean, whatever. That's a fucking
little thing,
right. I mean, that's a foregone conclusion.
Yeah.
Bernie got some stimulus and unemployment, though. Bernie got us some stimulus and unemployment. Joe Biden was the one that started propagating the $2,000 checks, and he withheld those from 17 million Americans who were eligible. Previously eligible. Yeah. Knocked them off the rolls. Don't sell me pork pies and a bag of trout, dude. I know what's happening. What you think, D? What are you thinking, D? What are you thinking? What are you thinking?
You gonna get your bowl? You just gonna hold it. Mama do it? Why can't Mom do it?
No. I don't know what his problem is. Ever since I started watching your videos, I started to get my confidence back to making videos. Thank you, Paul. Well, cool. Good. Everyone forget how much money AOC is spending to live where she does. She's a sellout. I mean, I don't really care about that. What I care about is how functional she is. Like everybody talks about me like I'm the anti-pragmatist. Let's look at it like a pragmatist. What has all of the love and support and grassroots donation bought people from the candidacy of any of the squad members, let alone AOC? What's it functionally bought? In fact, to be honest with you, there's other squad members that are way better than fucking AOC in terms of being like actually functional members of Congress. So she's even at the bottom of the barrel of the squad, yet she's the big shining jewel at the center of it. Yeah. Social cachet, political cachet, power. These things, you don't think these things go to a fucking person's head? And we delivered that to her. We allowed the media to make her a darling, do nothing. And we defend her rabidly with lies. When we hear people say, functionally, AOC's done nothing, they come in here and they argue with me about it, rather than just looking at the fucking truth that's right in front of their eyes. Like, all the votes they make are public. She didn't show up for you. If you're a trans person and you were hoping to get Medicare for all so you could start your HRT, she didn't show up for you. She let these must-pass bills go past with not even a whimper, not even the insinuation that she was going to hold it up with a voting block. No confidence. Exactly. This is what it's about, guys. Let's do the hard fucking calculus of looking at these politicians that we sign our names next to and decide whether we have confidence that they'll address any of these fucking gigantic issues that are killing the planet right now, this second. No confidence. Pragmatically, I recognize that getting actual results can take time. It's not easy to just get in there and change the system. Unfortunately, you have to play politics before you can affect any change. So you're going to ride on her being functional after she's non-functional. So she's going to get powerful and then have a change of heart and use that power like a good guy. I hate to tell you this, Jamie, but I've watched so many politicians go that same route, and they never go the good guy route. They always end up joining the fucking status quo. And you know why that is, Jamie? There's power to be had, influence to be had, cameras in your face. She loves it. Don't deny it. Don't deny that AOC loves being a media darling. She loves people talking and twittering about what she's wearing every day. She loves making videos in front of people and waving her fingers and then watching the media cover it all. You don't think that plays a role in any of this shit? No confidence. The DNC structure funnels too much money and too much influence to these fucking people and doesn't enforce any goddamn fucking expectations on them. It has to go. No confidence. No more support of these lying DNC politicians who tell us one thing out of one side of their mouth and then functionally do something with the other. Promises upon promises. I was called an idiot because Biden was going to do this, that, or the other thing. And all he's done is fucking send money to Raytheon, bomb some fucking targets in the Middle East, carry on 99.9% of the same functional legislation on a national level that Donald Trump did. Like, what do you want me to do? Do a cartwheel as a leftist for that and call it fucking progress? Nay. Nay. No confidence. I have no confidence in the ability of the DNC or any of its candidates to address the functional fucking problems that we face right now. Not tomorrow, not 20 years down the road, now. The ocean is dying, now. The sea levels are rising, now. The equatorial belt is humidifying to the point where it's not going to support human life, now. The migration crisis that comes with that is starting now. The giant economic bubble that's hanging over the world's head like a big fucking Russian roulette gun cocked and ready to go on the wrong chamber, if you get my fucking drift. You don't see it? You don't understand it? You can't parse it from the fucking news? And yet you want to come in here and make an argument for more of the same, more of the same, more of the same. And you want to start making fucking arguments about it. You want to start making fucking stars out of these people that do nothing for you, rather than admitting the fucking problem. Those very people that you have empowered have sold you out. The system has sold you out. Any politician that gets their hands on DNC money is tainted, sold out, not there to help you. Sooner you realize it, the better as a leftist, because then you can start doing shit. Don't tell me what I'm fucking arguing, bot boy. I never said that the government could solve climate change. Don't tell me what arguments to stop making, and don't put them in my mouth and then tell me to stop making them. Time this fucking piece of shit out. Next time it's a perma. You want to argue with me? Argue with what I'm saying. Show it to him again, asbestos fingers. Make sure you read this if you plan to fucking participate in the chat. Read the whole fucking thing in its totality and abide by it, or else you're gone. Don't like it, don't whine about it. Read it and weep, else be gone. I don't want more of the same. I'm trying to change the minds of real people so that these lefty positions can become majority positions in this country. That the system precludes it. Jamie, if lefty positions had any chance of becoming majority positions in this country, the lefty position would at least stay the same cycle, no? It wouldn't become more conservative as it goes. You realize under Obama, the lefty position was 35% corporate tax rate. And under Biden, he's functionally lowered it 10%. And that's the new expectation. That's the new normal. What do you think is going to happen when this weak administration drops it to another Republican? And they will. Think ahead a cycle, Jamie. Take what you've learned, because I know you're young and I'm not trying to hold that against you. Take what you've learned in the cycles that you can fucking remember, and apply it to the future. And ask me about ones you can't remember, and I'll tell you about them. I've lived through a few more. I know what happens. I've watched it happen. I've tried to tell you guys stories that underline it happening in my lifetime. My parents were working class. They bought fucking acres of land and had a house custom designed and built on it. Owned quads and sports vehicles and fucking shit that we would tool around on the dunes with and shit. We had a horse. My dad was a mechanic. My mom drove forklift and pushed a broom. I've watched that go to this, Jamie, because of the very argument you're in here making. And you want me to continue marching down that road? No. No confidence. No confidence, because I'm a 41-year-old man and I've watched it happen. I've watched the Democratic Party lose all anti-war sentiment and become a bunch of warmongers. You realize that in my lifetime, the Democratic Party used to be the anti-war party. At least front-facing. Not anymore. Now they're just the continue the war party. Talk a lot about direct action. I think that's important and should be the goal, but I don't think we can do that until we have a hell of a lot more class consciousness. That's my goal. We can do it now. Stop giving. If you got $5 that you were going to throw at somebody that's backed by the DNC, throw it at a local mutual aid org instead. Support trans people in your community instead. Find a well-rated local mutual aid org, and if there's not one local, find a regional one. And support trans people directly instead of electing people that fucking talk out of one side of their mouth about trans issues and then functionally do nothing about them for their entire fucking time in Congress. You can start working on that now, Jamie. You don't have to wait till some fucking material condition is right for you to start making that now. Start arguing against anybody funneling any money, no matter what, to DNC-aligned and DNC-backed politicians, and funnel that money to local nonprofits and local mutual aid orgs. Aid orgs that will put food in the mouths and roofs over the heads of trans people. Help them get their HRT. Help guide them through the process. Help fund it. Find an org and donate your money there. And loudly announce to everybody that that's your intention. To stop talking and to start taking direct action to support the things that you care about. That's what I intend to do. Are you with me or no? find it childish. People ask, what's the solution? Do you need mom and dad to spell it out for you? These people need to stop participating in this BS facade so it can die. No confidence. I agree. I'm here. You got my ear. Oh shit, the magic number of people watching, 187. Oh damn, it dropped. Oh damn, it went back up. Oh damn, it dropped. I can do everything you described, but I'm also going to keep pushing ideas as well as people to not vote for Republicans. I'm not advocating for anybody vote for a Republican. So, yeah, I'm advocating for people to stop voting for Republicrats, to remove their participation from the system in a public way and to still participate in their local and state level initiatives. And to take all the money that they would funnel to a normal DNC candidacy and find some mutual aid org or some local politician who isn't affiliated with the DNC and support them. Make some change in your actual community with your dollars instead of giving it to Bernie, who gives it to fucking Biden. I wouldn't. I won't vote for anybody else under the DNC banner, because I know that even if that person says things that I like and I genuinely believe that they'll get it done, the DNC will scuttle them. Case in point, Bernie Sanders, 2 cycles in a row. I learned my lesson. I touched the hot stove twice. I won't be touching it again. The DNC is cancer. It scuttles actual progressive fucking candidacies. And it gives us fucking Joe Biden, Kamala Harris butt hash. No more. No confidence. No confidence in the DNC. No confidence in the people that prop it up and support it. No confidence in the ability of the DNC or any of its politicians to affect or lock in any real fucking change in this country at a time when the world is burning. No confidence. Twice bitten, thrice shy, yo. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, can't get fooled again. A surprisingly prescient Freudian slip from George W. Bush, the warmonger that the left loves now. Everybody's favorite murderer of 1 million Iraqi civilians and uncounted Afghani civilians, George W. Bush, the war criminal, now the liberal media's favorite darling politician. Look at, he can paint. He's like an old grandpa for the nation that murdered a couple million people. But guess he's okay. He can paint. That's good. And also paint the wall with the brains of an Iraqi child and dodge a shoe pretty good too, so I guess got that going for him. Check out. Nope. I'm sorry, another agnostic, but you're wrong. Voting for Bernie and AOC supports the DNC, who will take that vote and turn it into a vote for the status quo. Look what happened to people immediately. All these people that were on the Bernie fucking train, as soon as the DNC did him dirty on fucking Bloody Monday, and had all the DNC aligned candidates drop out and endorse Bernie Sanders right before Super Tuesday, giving the false fucking sense of momentum to the Biden campaign that allowed it to scuttle Bernie's campaign. Bernie was mum on the subject, didn't say a fucking word about it. Went quietly into that good night and gave all of those grassroots donations that he had left right to Biden and bent the knee immediately to Biden. And you're asking me to keep voting for those? No. Nope. It's not Bernie's fault he lost. It wasn't the millennials that didn't come out to vote. It was the fact that the DNC colluded against him 2 cycles in a row to ensure that his candidacy was replaced with the status quo candidate. And if you think any different, you're either blind or willfully stupid, or you've got bad faith fucking intentions and you're trying to muddy the waters of the fucking discussion. Inform yourself. Oh, D.
Go get your ball.
How's your bill? Making dumplings? Oh, yeah. D, go fetch with mama. Go, give him mama.
Dad's not doing it.
I'm not going to play fetch with you right now, bud. I can't. Sorry. Mama will play fetch with you, though. Go get the ball. Go get your ball. Get it. I'll do a handoff situation. Here's what we'll do. Dad'll keep doing his stream, and I'll do a handoff to mama. And she throw. Maybe you'll get it. Oh, D. Why did the DNC collude against him? Because they knew he actually had a chance. No. Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, what are you gonna do about it? What's your fucking? You think you're gonna be able to get somebody more powerful than Bernie, and they're not gonna do it again? Yes, of course they're scared of an actual progressive attaining power in the party, because that would force the fucking Democratic Party to stop doing what it's currently fucking doing. But even if we got like a progressive like Bernie in the presidency, do you know what a lame duck presidency it would be? The president can't just fucking proclaim all things so. He's got to fucking make it get through Congress. And look at what our fucking Democratic Congress is doing right now. They would have obstructed constantly. And this is all in a fantasy world where Bernie's allowed to actually, in a fair fucking arena, win.
And like 2/3 of like Biden's promises that he kept were just like directives and executive orders to look into something.
Right.
Like, let's make a committee to look into this.
There's people throwing out this number that like Biden's actually kept a lot of promise, and a lot. If you look into the individual promises, you're absolutely right, babe. A lot of them are just like, we promised to look into this. We're gonna like have a committee or something to take a look at this. Yeah, it would have still been progress in a universe where the DNC doesn't yank the fucking money in the chain at the last second and scuttle Bernie 2 in a row. You think they're going to let somebody even more progressive than Bernie actually do something in the party? You think your vote matters when there's super delegates on the line? Think about it. That's how they did it to him the first time around. They couldn't scuttle him effectively, and nobody was buying fucking Hillary Clinton, because who would? And so they used these fucking DNC super delegates to subvert the votes in the states and stack the vote for Hillary Clinton. You don't think they'll just keep doing that? Those rules, by the way, have not changed. There's still the law of the land at the DNC. The DNC is still functionally run the same way. And you really think that you're going to vote yourself a progressive into office? Are you fucking high? I am. But are you? Maybe you should get. Well, if the rules changed on fucking superdelegates, then I didn't hear about it, but it's not false that superdelegates bought fucking Hillary Clinton momentum in the article. I believe you, Zonster. You're more tuned in to fucking politics than I am. So if there's been a rule change in the DNC, clap, clap, clap. Rules can change back the other way, too, at a moment's notice, can't they? And often do.
So the rule was that they can only vote in a contested nomination. So that means, like, if no one's got a clear majority in the
right,
the votes,
then they can engage the
yeah.
superdelegacy.
So the superdelegates are essentially doing the same thing. They can scuttle.
Right.
It's close.
Right. So if Bernie manages to come close and the DNC works against him every way, then the superdelegates can engage and scuttle his candidacy again. So if he starts to get close, they can jump in and scuttle his candidacy, right?
They're essentially doing the same thing.
So fundamentally, what's the difference, Zonster? Can you parse that for me? Can you parse that rule change for me if they're allowed to come in when it's close? No, she just read it. You're the one that brought it up. I assumed you understood it better than I do. Superdelegates are still existent in the DNC according to the rule change that you referenced, that Amelia just looked up, and they're only allowed to vote when there's a contested election, meaning that it's within percentage points of one or another, and somebody's got to make a deal because nobody has a clear majority. So if Bernie's on the way to getting a clear majority, then superdelegates are allowed to start voting. No? Oh, they cannot vote on the first ballot. What about the subsequent ballots? Sounds like a fucking 1/25th measure at best, bro. Don't act like there's no opportunity for fucking skullduggery, because we've seen it from two different fucking angles. They didn't use the superdelegates this time. They didn't need to. They coordinated a dropout of obvious DNC-affiliated candidates in the 2 to 3 days before Super Tuesday. Going into Super Tuesday, Bernie had momentum. Then all of a sudden, all of these other smaller candidacies drop out and give their votes to Biden. Whole bunch of implied momentum. And if you think the DNC wasn't fucking behind the coordination and timing of those dropouts, please tell me you know that, right? Please. So you agree. So you agree that there's multiple ways that they can continue to scuttle any actual progressive politician from reaching high office if they want to. But you think they're not gonna. Because reasons? I'm willing to hear.
And like beyond the big DNC vote, they have a huge amount of control in the caucuses and the primaries in the individual states.
Right.
Like, have you ever been to a caucus?
No.
Like
you caucused, right, for
table,
Bernie?
Yeah, you sit at this table with like people roughly in your neighborhood, and you all write it down on like a paper ballot, and then someone appoints themselves a counter of the paper ballots, and then you guys have an argument to change the votes, or to have people change votes.
You try and like reach a majority or a consensus or whatever.
Yeah, and then you send that to someone else who puts it on
right.
a piece of paper.
And that was in Indiana?
No, that was in Washington.
Washington State. Okay. Yeah, interesting. I've never caucused, so I wouldn't know.
So it's like, yeah, go meet in person and argue with your neighbors about who to vote for.
Bernie overperformed in caucuses, though, I'm pretty sure. Or could it be that his fucking momentum was genuine and was scuttled by the last minute dropouts of all the corporate Democratic candidates, as illustrated and orchestrated by the very fucking organization that was supposed to equilaterally support each candidate? The DNC took action against a progressive candidate that led to his momentum being stopped on the most important fucking electoral day in the primaries.
What about the fucking coin flip shit? That was
Yeah.
Hillary's favor.
Ding!
That's how caucuses are. Caucuses
Right.
are fucking garbage that are
Right.
inexact as possible.
So that's what I'm saying, Zonster. That's where I've been coming from. That's why, I'm now advocating that not a single dollar goes to a DNC affiliated candidate, because I believe that even if you've got a candidate, even if you've got a candidate that genuinely believes the things that they're talking about, they will not be allowed by the DNC to achieve them. They will either be assimilated into the DNC superstructure and made part of the status quo, or they will be cut off and replaced. So even at the fucking national congressional level and the state congressional level, these fucking politicians are tainted by dirty, filthy, progressive scuttling DNC money. And they will do as they are told. That's why not another fucking grassroots dollar to a DNC affiliated candidate. Take your money, donate it to a local nonprofit, find a fucking food bank or a no-kill shelter. Donate it to a local or regional mutual aid org, supporting people that are in the streets protesting, supporting to relieve the worst of the poverty-stricken, supporting the people that you care about, trans people, whatever. Take your money that you have to invest in the political process. Stop giving it to a machine that turns those dollars into Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Give it to something that'll actually make change in your regional community and starve this fucking deadly virus that's called the DNC out of the left. And when it's no longer applicable anymore, no longer able to sell what it fucking wants to sell, which is no change, addressed as change, you replace it with a new movement. This happened in American history before. Let's do it. Like, how many times are you going to touch the hot stove of the DNC and pull your hand back fucking horribly burned before you realize that they're not here to help you? They're here to scuttle anybody who wants to help you or assimilate them, like the Borg, like they've done to AOC and the Squad, who for some reason refuse, despite all their fucking fiery rhetoric, to use their power as a voting bloc in a slim margin House. You know exactly, you're politically literate, Zonster. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Instead, many of them have made excuses for why they're not going to do that. Assimilation complete. Remember the Tea Party, Zonster? Talking about force the vote, I'm talking about appending any legislation like Medicare for all, a minimum wage, fucking stipends, anything to these must-pass bills, and using their power in a slim margin House as a voting bloc to force progressive change. And not one of them did it during one of the most important votes, one of the most important must-pass bills in American history. They had this unprecedented chance to push for something wildly progressive, and they didn't even try. They immediately rolled over and announced their intentions to not try, and then made excuses for why they didn't try. The bill will never pass, so people... Whatever, Jamie. You retracted the message, so... Abso-fucking-lutely. Or any of the must-pass bills that have happened. The COVID relief bill, Any of the fucking must-pass bills that have happened in the first few fucking days of Biden's presidency here, the first 90-some days. Yes. I think that they should be doing everything that they fucking can to fight for this legislation. Push it. Get concessions. If you can't get 15, get 12. You can't get Medicare for all, get some fucking relief for people. Get some step towards it. Do something. But that's what the DNC creates. It creates a beautiful funnel for leftist values, leftist intentions, leftist political beliefs, and leftist philosophy, and it turns it all into corporate Democratic candidates. And it happens generation to generation, and you know this to be true. If you try and vote for the Democrats who are actively fighting against your interests, you're advocating for your own demise. Exactly. Exactly. You're advocating for a ping-pong duopoly that continuously bumps the Overton window to the right and funnels actual leftist passion and leftist grassroots dollars into corporate nightmare candidates like Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And then takes actual young, fresh, liberal or left-wing faces and turns them into fucking corporate vote machines. And I've watched it happen cycle after cycle. But you want to tell me to keep fucking tap dancing on the deck of the Titanic? I think we should start fucking throwing some ropes together and building some rafts and shit. And I don't think any of the people that are on the fucking DNC roster have any intention of helping us do that. Listen to what I'm talking about, Bilbo. You take my arguments and you parse them in your own fucking language and use them for your own. Take what you believe about them and work on fucking making the argument and make it over and over again. Make it in different ways. Like go out there and engage them with these arguments that you agree with. And learn how to be a better fucking advocate for what you believe in. The Roman emperors would have you believe the empire would never fall. Yep. True that. Bernie is as progressive as it can be, or is there more that could come next? I don't know. Dude. I don't see the DNC fucking really supporting any firebrand leftist politicians. I see them supporting status quo center-right corporatists like they always do. The DNC is not a leftist organization. It just isn't. And if you are a leftist, it's not there for you. So you need to starve it of your votes. You need to stop listening to arguments that you should keep supporting the very system and oligarchs that are ruining the planet. I mean, come on here. We gonna do something about this or what? We gonna sit and do what our parents did and our grandparents before us did? And just vote party line and watch the world burn? Or are we gonna do something different? We're gonna try something different. I'm not saying this doesn't work, but people are asking me for fucking data on something that they're unwilling to try. You got any fucking hard data on this working? It's like, no, because people like you stymie the fucking process every time. Let's try something different, leftists. Let's not eat another scoop of DNC butt hash. Let's actually start bullying these fucking rad libs. And let's get some fucking momentum. Let's make a political movement in this country of real, genuine leftist intent. And let's stand on it as a principle. And let's not let ourselves down in it. Let's not let it be funneled into the DNC maw. Let's not. Let's try it for a cycle or two. And if I'm wrong and it doesn't work, and it doesn't bring people together, and it doesn't start a new movement, and that doesn't coalesce, go back. Vote for the shit lib. I'll admit I was wrong. Not until it's tried, though. Starve it. Starve the DNC of your support. Convince everybody that you know and can to stop donating to DNC politicians. Invest that money locally. Give it to a local fucking group that cleans up parks and destitute areas of town. Give it to a local group that supports trans people and helps find a home for them if they need it. Helps find a fucking doctor if they need it. Helps get them medical aid in whatever state you're in. If there is no such thing near you, find a regional group that focuses on the same. Mutual aid orgs that support people that are on the ground protesting and what's sure to be upcoming protests from BLM and other affiliated groups over the shitty treatment of black and brown people by police. This is a fucking fountainhead issue right now. Start donating to that directly. Take that $5 that you gave to Bernie, that he gave to Joe Biden, and give it directly to the people that need it. Buy a hamburger with it for somebody that needs to eat. Not directly. Through a fucking organization that you know does right. And if you don't have one that's absolutely local to you, find a regional one. And that's it. Again, you cannot do both. A lot of people that gave $5-10 to Bernie didn't have $5-10 to give to a mutual local aid org, did they, Jamie? Or do you assume everybody's fucking income is as disposable as yours or mine? A lot of people had 5, 10, 20, $100 to donate to something that they believed would start a fucking change in this country. And it went right in Joe Biden's pocket if they gave it to Bernie Sanders or any other candidate. I'm telling you, instead of taking that money and flushing it down the fucking lib toilet, give it to trans people in your area so they have a roof over their head. Or do you not like direct action? You think it's direct action to funnel money from fucking Bernie to Joe Biden? Take your $5, your $10, your $25 that you've got. Don't give it to another fucking DNC candidate ever. Give it to a mutual aid org. Give it to a local charitable organization that you vet, that puts food in the mouths of the indigent. Helps trans people with their transitions, provides a shelter for abused women or men. Find an organization that speaks to you and give it your money and your time, and stop giving it to these shit lib fucks that turn it into war and death. And let's see what they do about it after a couple of cycles. When they don't get your money anymore. No more grassroots fucking astroturfing. Not a dollar to that fucking shit organization. Well, you gave about probably fucking $50 to Joe Biden with that donation, Jake. Fuck voting for him too. You're just adding an extra step. What do you think not paying them is supposed to do? They can't get your votes without money. You're starving them on the vine. Why would you go vote for them? That's like saying, you know what, dude? I want that fucking bear that's living in my backyard to leave. So let's starve him, but feed him twice a week. It's like, what? Huh? Make your mind up. Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Yeah, you can't do both in this situation. That was my point. You said donate to both. That was the argument that I fucking... You're on the side of not fascism, then you better take a look at Joe Biden's fucking electoral record and career as a politician. He's a segregationist and an untried and unfucking brought to justice rapist. He's a creep, sex pest, piece of fucking garbage that would sell your fucking butthole up the river. You think he's for trans people? Are you kidding me? Joe Racial Jungle Biden? Get real. Give that money to an organization that actually helps people like you, Jamie. And give your political support to them too. Starve them of it. And write no confidence on your goddamn fucking ballot. And let them know that you will not be forced into a false binary that continues to oppress the very people you care about. Not only did Tara Reade get swept under the rug, the very same people who were trumpeting "Believe the Victims" smeared her, called her names, made comments about her weight and the way that she looks and all this other fucking shit. The very same people. You want to step in this fucking mud with me? Let's do it. Look, I'm no big fan of this, but he did change the trans policy in the military. So, how did that help a trans person? You can go be a bullet sponge and maybe get your HRT. Wow, what a gift. What a gift he's given to trans people. Because it lets him funnel more people and more interest into the U.S. military-industrial complex. Yeah, trans people are better off on the front lines of war, soaking up fucking bullets and IEDs in all of these countries that we have no right to be in. Give me a break. Give me a fucking break. When are we going to do something? When are we going to actually do something? Everybody talked about, what do you mean, oh, come on, Zonster? What about what I said was uncharitable? Funnel more people into the military. Do you support the fucking military-industrial complex, Zonster? You think it's a good thing when people go to die in Afghanistan or kill people in Afghanistan, come back horrible, broken from PTSD? I said he'd done nothing for trans people, and I stand by that, and I'll die on that hill. He didn't help a trans person transition. He said you can come and be a fucking probable bullet sponge for future fucking wars, and maybe you'll get it done. If you survive long enough. If you survive your tours of duty, maybe we'll get on that HRT for you. You don't understand how the bait and switch goes with the military, Zonster, and you're going to want me to fucking trumpet that as some kind of progress? Bull fuck. The next time they drop the strap to a Republican, you know that gets walked back. It's a political football. Functionally no change in a trans person's life on the ground. Functionally zero. And it gets kicked back and forth like a soccer ball, and we all go, yay, boo, yay, boo, yay, boo. When the issue at hand is, can trans people be a bullet sponge in foreign wars of aggression? What a leftist fucking issue. They can transition you in using the VA. Can you give me some stats on the efficacy of VA fucking treatment on normal fucking issues, let alone the complex issues of transitioning that comes with being of one biological gender and transitioning to another?
And I'm pretty sure...
Show me how well the VA works.
I'm pretty sure the VA doesn't cover things that aren't related to service. So, like, they might partially cover it, but they're not going to give it to them free. They're
covering all the counseling, blah, 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 blah. If that's happening, Zonster, your friend is at a lucky position because most VAs ain't fucking set up for that. Most VAs can't even get fucking psychological help for soldiers who are killing themselves in record numbers. The VA is garbage and underfunded.
Like, even if you do get your health care covered by the VA, it's not always the best. It's like your stepdad only getting one hearing aid a year.
Right. I have a stepdad who's functionally deaf. And he left his fucking hearing aids that he got from the VA out. He doesn't get one hearing aid a year. He gets one hearing aid every fucking 6 years.
Yeah.
And one replacement every 6 years. Right? So he has his hearing aids. He left them out. His little dog chewed one up. He goes to the VA and goes like, I don't know what to do. I'm sorry. I forgot about my things. I took them out. My dog chewed them up. And they told him like, all right, we'll replace them, but this is it for 6 years. So you better make them last. He's deaf without them. And you're going to tell me the VA is going to hold your fucking friend's hand through the whole transition process, including the extensive psychological counseling? Bullshit. They can't even give a deaf man who served in their fucking shit bloody organization his ears. So I hope he doesn't drop one of those things in the lake when he's out fishing. I hope his little dog doesn't get a hold of it. I hope he's vigilant for the next 6 years of his life, because otherwise he won't be hearing his wife's voice in their twilight years. And you're going to tell me that fucking self-same organization is about to hold the hand of somebody through a transition? If you agree that it's not adequate, then why are you making excuses about it, Zonster? Starting to get on my fucking nerves, man. Why are you in here trying to fucking undercut what I'm saying if you agree with everything I'm saying? Underfunded. So what now? Who's going to give it to you, Zonster? Biden? Kamala? Who's going to fucking shut down the private prison industry? Biden? Kamala? Who's on deck? All right, Zonster, look, I'm not gonna fucking fight with you, bro. I just feel like every fucking example that you've been brought up has been shown to not be what you say it is. You said they changed the rule. They didn't. It's still functioning. They can still scuttle any progressive candidate that gets too close to their fucking status quo candidate. They can still engage in skullduggery and shit. So you brought that as an example of how we're going to get change through the electoral process during a discussion about how no change functionally ever comes from the electoral process. We're living on a dying planet, an acidifying ocean, a dead fucking bone white Great Barrier Reef, functionally 90% of large ocean fish dead, ecosystems dying all over the fucking world. Exportation of misery on the rise, on the rise, on the rise. The global south is just a goddamn sewer now for our shit. Go take a look at all the plastic floating in the bays and shit. Where do you think that comes from? We're shitting on the earth, we're shitting on each other, we're shitting on the people we claim to care about. And we're making excuses for it. Not me, not anymore. No confidence. Every dollar that I would donate to a political candidate is going to a fucking mutual aid org. Every cent, every second of my advocacy is going to be against the DNC and against anybody who would fucking support them. Until it's dead and withered. And can be replaced by something to address these problems. Because I'm tired of playing patty cake. I've been a leftist a long time, folks. You don't want to be my age and still be playing patty cake with these fucks. Trust me. Trust me on that. If you trust me on nothing else, trust me on that. If you're a vibrant leftist that cares about trans people, people of color, migrants, LGBTQ plus people, trust me on that. You don't want to be my fucking age, still looking down the barrel of sucking the dick of this corporate system. And change don't come from what you're doing. Because my generation did it. My parents' generation did it. My grandparents' generation did it. And it led us to the situation in which we sit. Start investing in your local fucking communities. Your time, your energy, your money if you've got it. Vote for local ballot initiatives that you think will help. If you can suss out a politician that's local and you think that politician is on the level, give them your vote. But not another DNC candidate gets a dime or a second of your vocal support. You proclaim yourself proudly to be a leftist and you stop sucking hind tit. Longtime fan, glad you exist, my guy. Thank you, Creature Beats, for $5. I appreciate you, bro. This is what frustrates me. My parents give thousands of dollars to DNC national candidates, yet don't even consider the possibility of investing in their own town community, of course. Because that's what we've fucking told. I'll check my DMs, Jamie, yeah. We'll get together sometime soon. We'll have a little talk about this or whatever. That speech needs to be on a Vine that goes viral. Well, then make a Vine and make it go viral, because I don't do Vines, dude. Make a fucking whatever TikTok thing out of it and make it go viral. Because I don't know, I don't do that shit. I'm not good at that shit. A Vine, yeah, dude. We hardly knew ye, Vine. We hardly knew ye. Gone, but frankly forgotten. Well, oldsters, y'all. No, I don't know, man. I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of watching it. I'm sick of participating in it. I won't participate in it anymore. I won't be part and parcel to the destruction of this fucking planet anymore. I won't sign my name next to a politician that's going to do me dirty. Not one more time. And I know where those politicians come from as a leftist. I'm given the option to vote for DNC candidates in this country, and they never live up to what they're supposed to do. So fuck them. Not a vote, not a dollar. I'll participate every other way. But my advocacy is going to be for no confidence votes from leftists. No confidence in the system. No confidence in the DNC. A new way needs to be forged by people if we're going to fucking survive what's coming. And if we're not going to survive what's coming, then what are we talking about here? Why listen to that I preach a lot of fucking doomerism on this channel, but why listen to somebody who says that humanity has no fucking chance at all? If you hate doomerism, that's not me. I don't think we can stop the climate crisis that's coming. I don't think we can do anything functionally about the fucking giant economic bubble that could pop at any fucking second. But we might be able to prepare our fucking local communities. We might be able to do some leftist direct action that makes the fucking fall a little less hard. I don't know, man. You want to do nothing, or you want to do something? You want to do nothing, just keep cyclically voting and then rubbing your hands together and talking in the run-up to voting. This is another thing that bothers me, and I'll get to your $10 super chat here in a second. I'm not ignoring it. But I want to tell you guys something that bothers me. A lot of leftists in the run-up to this election said, here is the fucking plan. We get Biden in office, we immediately start trying to bully him left, and we immediately start engaging in local fucking direct action. Immediately. And I have seen so very little to none of that from any of these motherfuckers. Let's do some direct action. My small town outside Portland, we got a mayor whose motto was kicking ass for the working class, local community raised, union-backed leftists. That's how it's done, y'all. No confidence in the DNC. Yup. That's how it's done. Vote for that politician if you've got one in your area. And if you don't, No confidence. Vote down ballot initiatives. Vote the way that your conscience tells you to vote on those, and don't vote on the ones you could give a fuck less about. There's 100% another housing bubble, Zonster. It's going to fucking rear its ugly head when all these people that bought these investment properties, all of a sudden this rent moratorium ends and they try to collect from people who have no money and can't pay their fucking mortgages anymore. Yeah, no. Yeah, you need to be beyond starting to worry about a housing bubble, Zonster.
Like the fact that prices for houses went up so high.
Right, they're spiking right now,
Yeah.
but there's the economy and people's ability to buy them
Yeah.
are functionally going down.
Yeah.
So what's going on here? All these investment properties, all these fucking mortgage payments there's been a moratorium on certain aspects of mortgage payments for people during the pandemic, but that doesn't mean that you don't owe the bank.
Yeah.
So the bank's going to start collecting again, and how many people have been able to get another job? Some people have, thankfully, but not all.
Got a job that was equal to your previous job, too.
So what if you have to take a job that's down the fucking trough from your previous job because that previous job just doesn't exist anymore because it's one of the fucking tens of thousands of local businesses that have closed during the pandemic. And so you take a job that pays way less, and now that fucking mortgage bill comes, and it's pretty much functionally 90% of your income, and you got to pay that bill or eat. Housing bubble. Boop. Just about to pop, you guys. Rent moratoriums and mortgage payment moratoriums are functionally going to end at some point. And when they do, people are going to be liable for all of that fucking money.
And the student loan moratorium.
Student loan moratorium. These were all fucking quarter measures to keep people from going literally belly up.
All those chickens are coming home to roost real soon.
Yep. Most towns are functionally like just graveyards of what used to be vibrant communities filled with locally owned businesses. The last vestige of non-branded shit died with this fucking pandemic. And with it went a lot of really good jobs. Whoopsie daisy. But somehow the fucking economy just kept on booming away. It's a joke. 1997 baby here. Do you think that the best way to maneuver around the housing crisis is to rent cheap? What do you think, given your experience? Dude, I don't fucking know, man. I went through one housing bubble and I just happened to own during it, and I wrote it out, right? So I owned a condo that I was able to get prior to the housing bubble. So I was just lucky. If I were you, I would not think about purchasing any kind of fucking property. I would live well below your fucking means and save as much money as you fucking can, or wisely invested in money that you can turn into liquidity quick, so that when this bubble pops, you as a young person can snatch up the opportunity to get a piece of property for a fucking song. Because I've done that twice in my life, okay? The first time I ever bought a piece of property, housing prices were kind of low. It was like early, especially in the area I was purchasing, it was like early 2001, 2, like right around 2002, I bought my first house. Well, it was a condo, and I got it for $25,000. 3 years later, it was worth $90,000. Okay, then the housing bubble happened, and the price of it went down to like $40,000. But I was living in it. I was using it functionally, so I bought low. I didn't necessarily sell it at its peak. I ended up selling it for something like 40 grand, which was, close to double what I put into it at the end of the fucking day. And that was that, you know what I mean? So I didn't lose a bunch of fucking money because I didn't buy at the top of the fucking housing crisis. Or even if I functionally I lived there for like almost 8 years. I think it was like 7 years and change. So I used it functionally as a property. So even if you're like in a position where you want to buy at a time when the market is high, don't do that unless you plan on using that property forever. Because if you do, there's a good chance that housing prices will come up again and you'll be able to make your money back. But if you just want to flip a quick house, now's not the time to do it. You know what I mean? But I've never done that. I did it again. Once the housing bubble came around, I got a management company, and I started renting out my property, the condo that I'm talking about, and me and my ex-wife bought a house that was way nicer than what we would have been able to afford usually for a totally manageable amount. And we were able to get several steps above, the type of house that we could functionally afford just a year ago or 2 years ago before the bubble popped. So like in 2009, that's when we bought a house, and prices for homes had bottomed out. There were just for sale signs everywhere. And that's that. And I held on to that fucking condo until 2016 and then sold it. Didn't lose any money on the investment. Didn't make a bunch, but helped me pay a few bills that I had. But that if you do it that way, you know that I'm not an economist or a fucking like real estate mogul, but I know, you don't buy when the market's high unless you have the plans to fucking keep that property and use it as a rental property for a long time, and or even better, stay on that property for a long period of time. Because these things ebb and they flow. But property is always worth something, right? So you got to make the decision that's functional for you at the level of fucking income that you have. But I would recommend that right now, as a fucking young person, you live below your means. You find a fucking apartment and rent it. Live in a studio or something. If you don't got kids and you don't got a partner, that's great. Live well below your means. Eat cheap. Cook meals at home. Don't get a pet. Don't get a fucking long lease on a car or some shit. Buy yourself a functional car and live below your fucking means. And save the money. You know what I mean? I don't know what to tell you beyond that. The problem is you could be waiting 6 to 10 years with this strategy. It's nice to wait until prices drop, but we don't know when that will, right? I mean, I'm just telling you that there's a good chance that prices are going to drop in the next fucking year or two. Because, as Zonster mentioned, there is growing consensus amongst economists that we've created a giant housing bubble, and that the lockdowns and pandemic have exacerbated that housing bubble, and that all that's holding back the dam right now is legislation that's meant to expire. So yeah, dude. I really don't think you're going to be waiting 6 to 10 years, but I ain't got a fucking crystal ball or whatever the fuck.
Well, even then, it's like a house is a huge fucking investment.
It really is. It's not something like, that's one thing that I will tell you. No, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
But you're absolutely fucking right. Like a house is a gigantic investment, not just in money and time and upkeep and all that shit, but in the place that it is situated and your life going forward. Like, you're not just investing your money. You're saying if you buy a house to live in it for X amount of fucking years, a decade or more or whatever, and you're going to ride it out and try and make some money, maybe keep it forever, maybe raise your family in it, whatever, right? You're saying I'm putting like roots and like real tangible roots down here. You know what I mean? Real tangible, like I'm tied to not only this house and this piece of property, but this place, this state, this fucking region, this fucking whatever else comes with it, right? That's a huge decision. You don't want to go tiptoeing into that. Buy in a place that you know is a known quantity. You know what I mean? Like, if you have no experience in an area, get some local representation, somebody that you know. Hire somebody to fucking be a representative and suss out some good deals for you. And because, like, if you're moving across the country, you're living in a place where you know nothing about that fucking place, and you're just an average Joe, you're gonna get taken for a ride, dude. I was super fucking lucky to be in the market when I was. And I was also in the market at a time when a dude like me could work at Starbucks and buy a house. Not a fucking big opulent house, but a whole ass condo to myself. Nobody's help, paid for it myself. Just another example of how this lesser of two evils voting sucks people's, like, can I get a fucking poll of 20-year-olds And I'm not even trying to fucking flex on that. It wasn't a great house, but can you buy a fucking condo right now? Any 22-year-olds in here, property owners, working a normal job?
Like putting zero down is probably not a good idea in general, too.
No. But I had some money to put down.
Yeah.
I saved money at my job. I had $5,000 to take into that place and put down because I lived below my means.
Well, that's what I think a lot of young people would see, like, oh yeah, there's the zero down thing. Let's just hop in on
Right.
it and
That's
have my
the
monthly
dude.
payments be way higher.
You got to look at your loan and you got to understand what different kinds of loans are. There are progressive loans where they have these big balloon payments that show up 2-3 years into the loan, or where the rate steadily climbs to a higher rate than it looks like on the fucking face of it. They've got these fucking real sharky kind of fucking loans that you can get trapped up in. And if you don't,
insurance.
right, if you don't have somebody to represent you, or you don't have the money to hire, because I hired a real estate agent, right? This is a dude working at a coffee shop as a shift supervisor. I wasn't even a management guy. I was like I was a fucking hourly employee for Starbucks. I saved my money. I engaged the services of a fucking real estate agent who helped broker my sale and get me a good deal on the loan as a first-time home buyer and blah, 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 blah. And I was able to get, you know what I mean? But I did it right. I saved money first. And I did it, unfortunately for you guys, during a time where I could work a job like that. And I didn't have 2 jobs. I didn't have secondary source of income, or a side hustle, as you kids have to unfortunately call it these days. I worked at Starbucks full time. Well, just a little under full time, probably 38 hours a week usually. Heard what you said, Amelia, about mortgage insurance. They force anyone who can't put down 20% to get mortgage insurance, so their interest rate is low, but their APR is super high. Right. You got to understand, dude. This shit is real sticky. You have to get good representation if you're going to fucking buy a house. You got to do it smart. I'm lucky that I've never gotten burned. Well, I mean, personally, the second house that I bought was a wash, but that was my choice. I chose not to pursue any rights to the property or any fucking equity in the property because I was the whatever aggressor in the divorce or whatever. So I made the choice to take an ouchie on that one. But you don't have to do that either. You know what I mean? You don't got to get married at a young age either, or before you know that you're with somebody that you want to be with.
Even if you are married, you don't have to co-sign necessarily.
Right, you don't. There are various ways of fucking doing it. So figure out what's best for you and yours and do it. Yeah, it's insurance for the bank. So you're picking up the bank's insurance bill for them with mortgage insurance. I know I'm not leaving this house until the kids are in college. Right. And see, like, you don't want to purchase a fucking house unless you know that, or you have a bona fide plan to use it as an investment property and either manage it yourself, which is a lot of fucking work, or pay most of your profits to a management company who will go and fix the toilets at your expense out of the fucking rent that they are paid, and you get a check at the end of the month if you're lucky. Usually you get nothing. After they take their fee and anything that went wrong on the property, broken toilet, broken pipe, you know, something happened, roof needs fixing, this, that, and the other thing, that all comes out of your fucking ass, right? So you got to make your choice. You got to understand that you can't just like buy a house and then just have it print money. Like, if you're a landlord, like I'm renting right now, I rent this place. If something breaks in this place, I don't pay for it out of my pocket. I call my landlord. And my landlord sends somebody out to deal with it. You see? At their expense. That comes out of my fucking rent that I pay them every month. Presumably.
Yeah,
that's part of their...
to refuse them rent if something's hella broken. Like if the water is off
Sure.
or something.
Whoa.
You okay?
Yep. Just got hit in the face with a little buggle.
Oh. These little bugs.
These bugs.
Yeah, it's Speaking of that, I saw they're releasing the GMO fucking mosquitoes in Florida.
Are they? They're
Yep.
trying it? Fucking
Yep.
A. Let the mosquito genocide commence. Hallelujah. I'm glad your landlord is not Jared Kushner. Me too. I actually kind of like my landlord. I have a good relationship with my land people, my land persons. Kill all mosquitoes. Yes, yes. Murder them all. Down to the last one. Murder them all.
And if you help the bees, then nothing's gonna starve from not having enough mosquitoes.
Nope.
Like,
Do what you think of cheating, Paul. Bruh. Bruh. Read your shit before you hit send, and if it makes no sense, don't send it. Also, get everything in writing and have it witnessed. No handshake. Right, of course. They should be called syringe flies. Yeah, they really are basically that. The frogs will starve. No, they won't. Like scientists that are actually not just internet alarmists have studied the food chain and know that the elimination of mosquitoes will not functionally harm any ecosystem. They don't form the broad basis of any food chain anywhere. That's the actual science. But if you want to listen to whoever the fuck in the chat, go ahead and be one of those people too. You can do that too. Paul, what do you think will happen with the next crash? If we go full bore, fall off the edge this time? It really depends. I mean, Zonster could chime in on this shit too. He's probably a little more economically minded than I am, I would imagine. But I did live through the 2008 crash. Luckily, I wasn't exposed in the market or any place else at that time. So really all I lost was some of the equity in my 401k from Starbucks. But that, once that bounces back, if you hold on to it, I didn't cash it out and panic. And once again, some of the equity that was in my CalPERS account, because I work for the state, but that once again bounces back as long as you keep it and hold on to it for your retirement. So I really wasn't exposed in any way when the crash happened, and I'm lucky for that. But a lot of people were.
My dad got fucking laid off as a doctor. Like,
yeah, a lot of people lost their jobs, and at the time that the crash happened, it was 2008. I was already working for the school district. So my job was really kind of protected because like I was already working in an understaffed department, and technology had become so ubiquitous in the classrooms that they could not fire anybody from my department. But there were people that got laid off, switched around, teachers that got laid off and shit. It fucking sucked. But I was just lucky. I had a job at that time that didn't expose me to this like, well, you're not super essential, so sorry, here's your pink slip. Maybe we'll bring you back if things look on the up and up someday. Have a good life. I didn't get that, That didn't happen to me. I was lucky. So when you're talking about like what can the what kind of like consequences can you expect with a crash like I'm talking about? Well, the opposite of what I just told you for a lot of people. Because not a lot of people aren't overexposed. Like I wasn't drenched in credit in 2000 or credit debt in 2008. My cards were managed and cyclically paid off every month. So I didn't have like this balloon payment of credit card debt that all of a sudden I couldn't pay. Didn't lose my job, didn't lose my home.
it's like right now, I think we got a disproportionate amount of old people that probably rely on investments a lot more if the market crashes.
Yep. I mean, we're functionally looking at the last couple of like, decades where people are going to die with Social Security.
Yeah.
People my age likely not going to get it. Your age, you can just fucking quit dreaming. You're not getting Social Security.
They would have to do a complete fucking overhaul.
Yep.
They would have to.
And that's not going to happen functionally. So One of the most progressive and important pieces of legislation ever passed in the electoral process is going to be functionally starved to death in about 10, 15 years.
And that's not being talked about at all right now.
Of course it isn't, because that's not, newsworthy in a world that's falling apart. Yeah, you're 27, you're not getting it, bro. Zonster might get a little taste. He's I think like 10 years my junior or something like that. I'm not getting a fucking slice of that shit. I ain't getting no goddamn Social Security. I might get a little bitty taste of it for a little bit of something. There might be a little remnants of it around the asshole, but paid into it my whole life, by the way. Won't be there for me at the end. Worked my whole fucking life. From the time I was 19 years old all the way till now, paying into Social Security. And I won't get a dime of it. How fair is that? Well, I made Social Security payments before I was fucking 19 too. I just didn't start working full time until I was 19. I had jobs when I was 15, 16, 17. I worked a fucking steady part-time job all the way through the last 2 years of high school. Harm reduction, am I right? Yeah. I don't see the reduction. I do see some reduction. I see the reduction in the purchasing power of the average working person, both in the real estate market and just at the fucking normal marketplace. I see a reduction in the amount of political power that can be affected by grassroots movements. And I see, by and large, those grassroots movements funneling money to people that don't support the average working person, like Joe Biden. So that's why #no confidence. That's why I have no confidence in the system or the DNC to do anything about it, because it's my lived experience that they will not. And I continue to see proof of it every fucking day. My last episode broke my heart listening to TJ. I mean, whatever. There's a lot of people, you look at the fucking comments of that. There's a lot of people that think that TJ fucking utterly dismantled me in that argument. And it's just like, people are going to believe what they want to fucking believe, but I've got to be vociferous about it and not, like, I'm not going to badger TJ. Me and TJ and Scotty had a long ass fucking meeting today where we talked, by the way, dude, now that I got a bunch of people in here, I'm not going to tell anybody any fucking thing, but I'm going to give you guys a morsel. We made some decisions today, creatively and presentation-wise, that I am so fucking excited to roll out for you guys. It's in the fucking nascent stages. It's going to be a while before you see it, but god motherfucking damn am I excited. I'm super stoked at some of the things that we have used our meeting time for, these last 2 meetings we've had. We've built great shit. I think you guys are going to fucking love it. But I'm not going to tell you anything about what it is. You'll see it when you see it. But that's a departure from the fucking topic at hand. I just wanted to let you guys know. But I was just saying, like, TJ and I had that fight, and there's a lot of comments in there like, oh, TJ and Paul are not long for this world as friends. And I was like, dude, have you ever had a fucking friend? Look at that episode. Me and TJ are laughing our asses off together literally 10 minutes after that fight ends. We spent all day today collaborating on the fucking show that we created together, along with his brother. Laughing and having a good time and bouncing ideas off of each other. You guys are fucking ridiculous.
And I mean, obviously, when you're performing and having a political argument, you're gonna juice it up a little bit.
There's every impetus to juice it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I don't scream at people like I scream at you guys during these fucking arguments if I'm having a face-to-face. I'm juicing it up a little bit. I'm putting a little exclamation point on it because it's fucking content and I'm an entertainer and that's what I do. If I was just sitting here and going, I believe that we should vote no confidence on every ballot. I believe that we should stop funding the DNC with our grassroots dollars. I believe if I was doing that, nobody would be here watching me. In fact, 3 people left while I was doing that. Come on, man. Get with the groove here. Like, understand what I do, please. Like, at the very least, understand what it is that my job is. It's not my job to sit around and get stoned and have conversations, as much as it may appear that that's the case. It's my job to make content that people want to watch with time that they could be spending doing something else. Like, there's not a fucking like army of people, but there's fucking somewhere around 250 people in here right now that could be watching this, that, or the other thing. And they're watching me. And it's not because there's just nothing else to watch. Trust me. There's more than enough to watch on the internet right now. But 250 people chose me. Last night, something like, what was our peak fucking live viewership? 9K? Something like that? 9,000 people chose to watch me and my friends live.
I think you mean 900, not 9K.
Well, okay, right, 9K. Or 900, right. So, you know, you got to understand, like, that's what I do. That's what I do for a living. Did you ever consider doing a call-in Highdeology? No. No. I've tried it before and it's cancer. Sorry. It just doesn't work. The only way to really functionally do it is to like have a Discord number or a Google Voice number. And then it's just prone to trolling. Like, people could just call up and be like, I'll say whatever they want, drop fucking N-bombs, and I don't know. Sorry. It just doesn't work that way.
The only one would be like an artificial one where everyone was pre-vetted that you knew.
Or somebody, I would sit down and like have a conversation with Zonster on a Highdeology. You know what I mean? I would sit down and talk to somebody who I know is a fellow performer and is a known quantity to me, or somebody in the community, right? I've done this pretty much every time I've been asked by people. I'm going on the Pim Monk show soon. Probably going to go on Jamie Darkey's show at some point. I'm going on Wizard of Cause's show, I think this Friday. So, you know, none of these are huge, giant streams or whatever, but if I'm asked, I'd usually go. You know, if there's 2 people watching, I'll go.
In terms of like some Patreon perk to call in, that's probably never going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think any amount of moderation can make an open Highdeology viable. I think you're right. Well, I've tried it. I've done it before. Like, I did it back when DFF still had a Discord. I had mods that would help me. We had a waiting room, and they would bring people in one by one. And it was like, I'm sorry to put it this way, because I know a lot of the people that participated in that might be out there watching, but like, for the most part, I'd say 85 to 90% of it was cringe-topia. It was just like people that don't know how to be entertaining trying to banter with an entertainer. And I'm not saying that makes you functionally, like, we can't sit down and just have like a quiet conversation. I do that with people too, off the record. I had a bunch of conversations with lefties that took umbrage with my fucking position in the lead up to this fucking shit that never showed up on anybody's channel. They were all private Discord conversations and shit. And I didn't conduct myself in the same way I conduct myself on the streams. I got passionate in a few of them. But that's me. You know, I'm not playing a character for you guys here, but I am entertaining, or trying to be. Got to keep that in mind, you know, when you do my job. But just understand what my job is. That'll help you when you deal with me. Like, there are people that look at me having a fucking yelling match with TJ over politics and think that it's real. And it is. Like, TJ and I are both passionate about our positions, but it doesn't mean that we're like not friends anymore because we disagree and yell at each other. I mean, fuck, dude. You ever ran a business with hotheads and being a hothead yourself? I yell all the fucking time. You have to. This is what it is, man. I wouldn't work with passionless fucking flopping fish, man. The reason that I fucking threw my lot in with the Kirk brothers is because they are passionate people. They do what they have to do to get it done. They want to make content. They want to change the expectations that people have of their content. They want to try new things. They're experimental and artistic minded and creatively minded. That's why I work with these fucking people. Besides the fact that they're my friends. And that's that, dude. Latest banter sode was great. Thanks. I had a lot of fun with it. I laughed pretty hard, which felt good. I mean, do you guys remember how awful and awkward it was on the old show where they would have to have random dudes pay to be on the live show? They would just like sit there and not say anything. Yeah, Chelsea. Well, Pepperidge Farms, you and I remember, and probably a lot of other people. I mean, every once in a while, Chelsea. See, here's the thing. That's how, and like I know he turned out to be a fucking piece of shit, but that's how we discovered like JF back when he was just a cute, weird Canadian eccentric professor guy. Egghead, you know, like we would find these little personalities that were just a little bit extra, right? And they were people that bought into that. So like it's not like that everybody out there is incapable of it. It's just like the vast majority of people are not entertainers. They're not equipped to do it on any level or interested in doing it in any level. And so like call-in shows, they either have to be done like, okay, so back in the day, Howard Stern had the biggest radio show, nationally syndicated radio show in America for a long fucking time, and had long segments of call-ins. But here's what the call-ins provided, all right? Number one, no blocked numbers. Number two, before you ever got to talk to Howard, you gave your fucking name and your address, and if you violated FCC regulations by coming on Howard's air and screaming the N-word, and he wasn't able to hit the dump button and it got on air, the FCC paid your ass a visit. Right? I don't have that fucking protection. I got randos that could be who the fuck knows. Who knows if 5 of the people that are in the Discord chat waiting aren't the same dude, just masquerading so they can come in and say the same shit, you see? It's the world is different now. There's no accountability when it comes to fucking public discourse. Because everybody but me and a few of the people in the chat who I know in a personal fucking level, or a few of the people in the chat that choose to make front-facing content, everybody in the chat's like fucking V from V from Vendetta. Who the fuck knows what's under the mask? By design, you can't run a public discourse fucking show and insert public discourse into a fucking show if you've got that rule in place. There's no accountability whatsoever. People can say whatever they want, can come in and act like they would never act in their personal lives or in public, in earshot of anybody, and come and use your show as a fucking venue to blow off steam in that way. Nope. You're too boring to be V. Well, you know what I mean. Nobody's as cool as V from Vendetta, but it's like, who's under there? Who knows? Hugo Weaving, maybe? I don't know. Who is it? You get my, that's why I made the reference. Not in reference to the coolness of people, but in reference to the anonymity that makes it impossible to run a live show about vocal public discourse. You gotta have you gotta have like a known quantity, like another streamer, right? That's how Vosh pulls it off. Vosh has a known quantity come in, another streamer, somebody that he at least knows isn't trolling, that's going to come in and not, you know. And he has talks with those types of people. I don't do that. Like, nobody wants to talk to me. Nobody has any interest in talking to me. And so I've got no other choice but to do like some kind of fucking open public discourse thing, and it's just ridiculous. Your CIA, it's okay. Little view. I knew from the very fucking start that you were CIA. It's not a big deal. What up? Been a while since Ashley made an appearance in the chat. How's it doing? You just missed, we were talking about that Starbucks life. Yeah. Well, you know, I still follow you on Twitter and shit, so I see your Starbucks woes. It's fucking horrible, man. Yeah, we were just talking about how, like, you know, when I was around your age or whatever, like, well, probably a little younger than you now, I was 22, I was able to work at Starbucks and fucking buy a condo, like purchase a condo, not rent one, like actually own property and pay a car payment and work at Starbucks as a shift lead. And it's like, now, right? You're not, that's not something that can happen now, right? I'm assuming. Dude, look at that gangly vein I've got over there. Look at this guy. You guys see that? It's like the gangle vein. That's the vein I've grown since the electoralism talks. Oh shit, no. That's the electoralism vein. The rage vein. I love it, dude. Yeah, one of these days I'm going to be like, and another thing, these fucking libs. I'm going to be like, oh boy. Oh no, that's not good, probably. That's probably a bad thing. I'm going to guess that's a bad thing. I'm going to end this stream now. Well, at least we can smoke weed. At the very least, that's still true. You got to be thankful for what we have. Oh, man, that sun is getting better, but it's like 20 minutes from. Apologies for getting sideways on you earlier, friends. No. I'm sorry I got salty at U2's on stream. You know that's just how I operate. I'm just a fucking spiky guy. I mean, if you weren't capable of being friends with a spiky guy, you and I wouldn't be such old friends. So no harm, no foul, buddy. And if you'd like, I can facilitate us getting together on a fucking Highdeology if it's something you'd be interested in doing. Or I could come over on your channel and do a live stream over there with you, and we'll, we can hash some of these things out and talk about other things for sure. So yeah, man, if you want, hit me up on Twitter and let me know what works best for you, like which venue or whatever, and we'll do it. Like I said, man, you're my old friend, so no harm, no foul. Yeah, you can do it on Twitter if you don't mind. That's probably the best way. If I get one from you, I'll see it. So we'll figure it out together. I have not gotten Rise yet, dude. I don't know. I'm you know how I am, dude. I can never pull the trigger on buying a fucking thing, and I've been looking at a fucking goddamn Switch in my fucking cart forever, and looking to get a Switch here, and I tell myself, oh, I'm gonna go do it. I'm gonna get a Switch, and I just never want to pull the trigger on it because it's like $500 that I won't have. You know what I mean? Like you lived with me for long enough to know this fucking personality trait of mine. Chelsea too. Chelsea knows. Rolling in YouTube bucks. Oh yeah, dude, I'm rich as fucking shit, dude. Let me just splash out. Oh yeah, dude. No, I'm not rolling in any goddamn money. I'm doing okay. I'm paying my bills and I'm living below my means and saving money. Spoil myself maybe one of these days. I don't know, dude. I just don't. Oh. Yeah. I hate buying things. I want to buy it. I don't want to do it. Yeah, but then you got to get all the extra dodextra shit for the Switch, don't you, Ashley? You got to get the motherfucking extra controller. You got to get the Pro controller if you don't want to play with that stupid ass fucking double paddle joystick bullshit. You want to play it proper, you got to stack another fucking couple $100 on top of that. And all of a sudden, you done paid yourself $500 for a fucking console, man, that's been out for years now. Been out for fucking years now. Then you gotta buy the games. Didn't even mention that shit. Another $200 if you want to get 3 or 4 games for the motherfucker. $700 out of pocket. I'm not splashing it. I can't do. Well, I mean, I think that's one of the many reasons, Chelsea, why you and him work. Like, your frugality balances his splash out fucking potential, you know what I mean? And you provide a balance to him, and he makes sure that you don't live in, complete and utter destitution. You know what I mean? I've got the same fucking kind of thing going on. Like, Amelia is definitely frugal like I am, but if something needs to be bought, she's gonna fucking tell me what's what, and we'll buy it. You know what I mean? There's a difference between wants and needs. I spend too much and I'm poor. I know, dude. You're telling me to splash out and shit. And like I see, like on your Twitter, I see like all the new Pokemon cards and shit you're buying. I'm like, damn. No, it's all good. Have fun with your money. What else is it for? Oh yeah, new Snap too. That's another game I'd probably get because I don't really play normal Pokemon games, but I worked at Blockbuster at the time Pokemon Snap was legit new for the 64, and we had them set up, and like during dead times and shit, I got addicted to playing Pokemon Snap. Addicted with a capital A. I was pretty dope at Pokemon Snap, and I didn't know shit about Pokemon at that time. I just know I had to take pictures of the stupid fucking little things that were in the bushes, the shit that flew by, anything that looked interesting. I need to take a picture of that motherfucker, and like I was good at that. Counting the days for Pokemon Snap. Yeah, for sure. I don't know, dude. I got a feeling like if I splash out on anything here in the next 6 months or something, it's gonna be travel and some ink. Like tattoos are expensive, travel is expensive. So, if I'm gonna splash out, I want it to be something that fundamentally I really want. That's gonna because honestly, like the work that I want, I think it's gonna make me feel better about myself. Like I think I'm gonna look a little better the way I want to look. And I've got plans to get my hands, both hands, forearms, insides of forearms done. That's where I want to start. I want my first round of work to be forearms with maybe some wraparound onto the back of my arm and the tops of each of my hands. And I've got some concepts for what I want, and I've got a tattoo artist picked out. Shout out Zach, who posts there in the chat. But yeah, he's on the East Coast, so. Top of the hand will be painful. Dude, I'm in pain every day. I'll be fine. Well, Amelia's got family that lives back there, so it's far, but it's somewhere where we've been meaning to visit, a region we've been needing to visit for a while anyway. So it's like a trip we were going to take anyway for family reasons that can be combined into a trip where, we go see family for a little bit and then take another little hop and get my tattoo work done for a week or two and then come on back. So yeah, it works out. Works out pretty good. Yeah. Family's not super, super close, but had your second shot last week, so plans are already in the works. Yep. I get my second shot May 2nd, so coming up here pretty soon. That'll be shot number 2 down. And as far as I know, I either never got COVID or I got it and it was totally fucking innocuous and I didn't notice the difference between it and my normal allergic fucking shit. And it came and went. And I was one of the lucky people that just were relatively asymptomatic. But I did my due diligence. I stayed home. We're driving to Louisiana a couple weeks for his friend's wedding. Oh, shit. Cool. Well, if you guys pass on through, you can pop in and see TJ and Chels. That'd be cool. And I'd like to see you. Hands can't be worse than feet. Yeah, I got no desire to get the feet done just yet. I kind of want to do like start from here, and then if I really enjoy what I get here and here, then work my way up the arms and finish a couple of like sleeve-esque kind of things here, and then see where I go from there. Like, I just kind of want to try it out. I've got one tattoo that I got when I was 22 years old and I paid $200 for or some shit that's busted to fuck that hasn't been cleaned up since then. So, you know what I mean? And that's it. And that's my only experience with it. It's the only time in my life that I've ever splashed out on something like that. And I was 22. So what's the theme of my sleeve? It's developing. I'm still not 100% sure. But the idea is solidifying in my head. No, I don't want to get the tattoo that I have covered. I just want to get it cleaned up and maybe incorporated into a larger design, which is totally feasible with a talented artist. So just want to get it recolored. You want to black out on one arm? Damn. Dude, I saw a dude the other day that had one arm completely blacked out, fingers all the way down to the fucking fingertips, just blackout sleeve. I was like, fuck that. Nope, nope, nope. Nopey, 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 nope. Getting some Viking tattoos? Well, you should with a name like Ingrid Helgerson, dude. Somebody named Ingrid should definitely have Viking tats. Yeah, you got to find an artist. The artist that I want to work with is actually a Highdeology dude. He hit me up on Instagram like a while back because I was talking about tattoos I wanted to get, and I talked with him a little bit, and he comes into these, he pops in and out of these every once in a while. He's a cool guy, and you know, we're gonna work out a deal and a time and shit. I'm looking forward to that shit. But I got to solidify my ideas into something cohesive, you know what I mean? Or decide on the completely like crazy schizophrenic, no cohesion between your tattoos, style wise or otherwise type of look, which I actually kind of like. I actually kind of like that shit, so. I like that, Holmes. I like it. I'm considering getting Shai Hulud, dude. Either Shai Hulud on the arm or part of it on the hand or on the back of one of my hands. A representation of either Shai Hulud or Leto II, the Eternal Emperor. I got some alien designs that I've shared with some people, but I've been pretty mum about in general. But yeah, I want to get like Ripley, kind of like a Ripley Baphomet. Kind of like a Baphomet, but instead of Baphomet at the center of the pentagram, Ellen Ripley holding her pulse rifle. No, they're not Dune characters. Smoke burp. Shai Hulud. But I definitely am thinking one side Dune themed, one side alien themed. Yeah. Well, thank you for your confidence. No, I like tattoos. I've just never been you know how I am, dude. And everybody else in here knows, but you know, a few of you that actually know me in person really do fucking know, you know. Like, I'm not a fucking spender. And that's probably good for me, you know what I mean? But I'm not materialistically inclined. Like, I don't like collecting a bunch of shit. I don't like buying a bunch of shit. And it doesn't like fulfill the thing in me that it fulfills in some other people. Now, I'm not saying I don't get the bug every once in a while. Yeah, I know tattoos are expensive. I know. I've saved money for a long time and been planning on doing this for a long time, and I'm prepared to spend the money that it'll take to get the tats that I want, you know? But typically, I'm not the type of guy that would ever do that. I mean, tattoo art on your skin is a form of materialism. It's getting artwork put on your skin that you find pleasing to look at, and that you want to be representative of you and representative of you in some way in the eyes of the people that meet you. So it's an investment in a piece of artwork that'll be with you forever. So yeah, it's materialist. Hey, Paul, planting season has started. The madness has begun. Oh, Mr. Naughty Priest. But then after planting season comes harvest season, Mr. Naughty Priest. And then you know what happens then, Mr. Naughty Priest. The dollars roll in, Mr. Naughty Priest. So you know that the harvest is only for the reaping. The sowing only happens for the reaping, Mr. Naughty Priest. For what we plant in the soil of our lives springeth up around us in greenery and vegetation and all of the good things of the earth. What you plant will grow, sir. I was really born in the wrong fucking era, man. I would make a great rambling backyard hermit. There was a point in time where it was like really fashionable to have a crazy old wizard looking druid dude that lives in the middle of fucking, nowhere. Thank you, Naughty Priest. Look at you. The harvest begins and more of my soul dies. Yes, but then you take your hard-earned labor to market, don't you, Mr. Naughty Priest? Don't you? And what doest thou then? Thou goes to the local house of prostitution and gambling. Thou spendeth thy hard-earned money on the fruits of your flesh. No, I don't know. Sorry. I guess I'm channeling a weird Christian preacher today. It happens to me. I don't know how to explain it. But yeah, as I was saying, dude, like, there was a time where it was like fashionable for really rich people to hire like a crazy old man, basically, to live on their property in like a hut and be like an attraction for like their upper crusty friends. And then let us go visit the hermit of the woods, and he's like a novelty. And he'd come out and he'd make a big bonfire or whatever, and he'd tell stories and shit. And the people would be entertained, and oh, yes, it was like a spectacle, you know what I mean? And then when the party went away, the guy got to live on the land, you know what I mean? Anyway, I think I would have done good in that life. I think I could have done that. Could have been somebody's backyard druid. Yeah, an in-house bard, but with like a nature theme, like you live out in the woods, like you're a little bit off and a little bit crazy, a little bit mystical. You know what? I should have done this a while ago. Spectre or not, it's always fun watching and hearing from you. Oh, thanks, Pranav. You didn't have to do that, bro. I appreciate it, but you do honestly do not have to do that, my friend. But it's very much appreciated. So is your presence. From the seed of the earth springeth forth vines of virtue. But for the weeds of chaff and vice, they would supplant dread and ill for fulfillment and gratitude. Blesseth thy crop, Naughty Priest. Yes, Vivian just told you. She just told you. She just told you the way, the golden path lie open before you. Dude, what if I got Dune on the back of this hand, just Arrakis with a space scene, right? Small enough to where you can see it's a planet with a space scene surrounding it to kind of like black out the hand effectively with a space scene. I get Arrakis here, and then have the space scene continue up and start with like the tail of a worm and have it like wrap around here and turn into the body of fucking Duke Leto, and I get like a big portrait of Duke Leto here. Not Duke Leto, sorry, Leto the second. There's no more tattoo talk. There's as much tattoo talk as I want there to be, Logan Looker, and you can get the fuck up out. I know what you're talking about, but it sounds dope. The sandworms of Arrakis. What does the tail of the dune worms even look like? Like the tail of a worm. You see it in Lynch's Dune. You see like a whole sandworm go all the way through its dive into the sand, and its tail comes up, and it's just like pointed like a snake almost. They're like a worm. So it would start very, like I would have the, the planet here very orange, because Arrakis is that, and then have it like have the space scene kind of just continue up the sleeve, or continue up this part of my arm, and then have the tip of the worm's tail maybe even impinge on that part of the picture here somewhere, long and pointy, and then have him fatten as he goes up my arm and surround it with, maybe some scenes, some different things from the movie, or maybe just more space scene. So he's not just, and then have him wrap around to the front, and here have just like a portrait of him standing. Have some people around his feet, like gathered, you know what I mean, around his feet, like some Duncan, Idaho down here. Have like Duncan standing there looking up at him. Dude, I'm like, this idea is kind of hot, yo. This idea is kind of hot, yo. Get the God Emperor. Thought of any back pieces? Nah, man. I don't really like my shirt being off, so I'm not like a big, you know what I mean? I'm just not that, I haven't really thought about going as far as like getting my back done. Like for me, like it's not as attractive too, because I want to be able to look at any time what I got, you know what I mean? I want to be able to like check out my shit and see it. I learned a little bit of that from Ashley. Like she got a tattoo while we were together on her forearm of a character that she designed, and I remember watching her as I was healing and how often she looked at it, and even after it had healed months later, she wasn't like obsessed with it, but how often I would catch her like, admiring what she had on her, and I was like, that's a good idea, because like this tattoo that I have up here is so often like, it would be awkward for me to see it even if I took my shirt off. Like it would be easier for me to show it to you guys than it would be for me to get a good gander at it, you know what I mean? And so that's why I want to get my hands and arms and forearms done first up to the, terminus here of the elbow, and then see what I want to do from there, if anything else. Yep. Yep. Is dark sci-fi like your favorite genre? No, I wouldn't say so. I would say Dune is one of my favorite books, if not my favorite book of all time. Like adult book, I guess. Like Hatchet is my absolute favorite book of all time. Maybe that would be something cool to get a tattoo of. Another literary inspiration. Let's get like a tattoo of like Brian from Hatchet standing there all ragged with his hatchet. surrounded by like a forest scene, a lake in the background or something, and maybe like an underwater plane on this part of my arm. Have like an underwater scene here with a plane with its nose down there. Maybe in through the window you can see the pilot, his skull in there with his little gangly hair blowing a little bit. Yeah, his crushed berries. Yeah, that would add a lot of color to it, wouldn't it? What would I do on the backside of that arm? Oh, I guess I just said that, right? Like like to have the, maybe I could do Brian on this part of my arm, and then on the underside of my arm have the underwater scene with the underwater Cessna plane, and a window where you can see the skull of the pilot with his hair kind of drifting. It's all very tempting. That would preclude me getting either the Dune worm or the Ripley, though. What Dune sequel book should be movie adapted? In my opinion, they should make a huge franchise out of this. The first Dune book is already going to be split into 2 films. So you've got Dune, all the Frank Herbert books basically are my answer. Dune, I'll try and remember them all. There's Dune, Children of Dune, Dune Messiah. No, wait a minute. It's Dune, Dune Messiah, Children of Dune, God Emperor of Dune, and then after God Emperor is Chapter House Dune? Am I right about that? Am I missing one somewhere in there? I think I am. Chapter House Dune is one of them. Heretics, that's right. I forgot Heretics. Dune, Heretics, and then Chapter House. Second 2 books are about breaking down all the work Paul does in the first. Kind of, maybe. I think that's an oversimplification of the plot, in my opinion. But whatever, we'll go with kinda, maybe, sorta, maybe, kinda, maybe, sorta. Kinda, maybe, sorta, maybe, sorta, kinda, maybe, sorta, but not really. Like, if you understand the ideas put forth in Dune, you understand the golden path. Paul walked the golden path. For the golden path led directly to the God Emperor, who brought 20,000 years of peace to the galactic fucking community. 20,000 years free from need and want. Well, according to him, in his mind. But Paul Atreides was part of that prophecy. He had to come along. He had to become Muad'Dib so that he could give birth to Leto. So, well, not he, but he and Chani could give birth to Leto. Soaked in the spice, soaked in his prescience. There would be no further books without Paul's contribution, for they all led to the God Emperor and the Golden Path. No, there's some great stuff, man. I really would love to see all of it. Favorite mythological god? Man, there's a huge pantheon of gods to choose from. A real huge pantheon of gods to choose from for mythology. And it's really, really tough for me to look at one and go like, yeah, this one. But I would say like Dionysus or Bacchus probably for me. All right. Well, if you're allowing, see, when you said mythological, I thought of traditional, like historical mythology and not Cthulhu mythos. Sorry if too off topic, but do you think Thanos' goal in the MCU was kind of stupid? It's been a while since I've seen the movies, so correct me if I'm wrong. I'll walk it through Thanos' goal, okay? And you can tell me if I'm wrong. Um, he wanted to amass the Infinity Stones so that he could use it to destroy half of all life in the universe to prevent all of the wars and self-destruction. So he was morally aligned in such a way that he believed that the only way to stave off the cyclical degradation of the galaxy, the constant rise and fall of civilizations, the constant war over resources, was to functionally reduce the amount of competition for those resources. So he made a cold, calculating, mathematically based decision to cause an act of great and immediate suffering, but to spare future generations that suffering. And then made a plan, of course, to destroy the object with which he did this, and did so. So, like, was his goal stupid? I don't think so. Like, I don't think it was presented as stupidity. I think that oftentimes in the pursuit of the common good, despots can oftentimes have very, very pure motives and do acts of great immediate cruelty. And for Thanos to assume that he had an impetus to decide for everyone, randomly though it may have been, who lives and who dies, to take that choice from the sentient species that he knew he was going to be hurting with this, is the flaw in his logic. It's where his simple mathematics becomes psychosis. Because it is very different to say that the Earth might be better off with half the amount of people on it. Half the amount of people means half the amount of fucking competition for the dwindling resources on this planet. And it's another thing entirely to say, let's do a lottery and exterminate half the people on the planet based on a fucking heads tails coin flip. You see what I'm saying? One of them is a functional discussion that I think we all should probably engage in at some point, or at the very least read up about. Heavy competition for resources in every biome on this planet, overpopulation and over-conglomeration of cities. It's a huge deal, right? But I'm not going to sit here in front of you and advocate for trotting out a lottery where half the people, walk into the fucking tanks and half the people get to live. That's not the way, right? Not without the consent of the people involved. If 50% of the fucking planet wants to walk hand in hand into fucking extinction, or not extinction, but hand in hand into non-existence together, I'm not going to fucking stop them. You know what I mean? If 50% of the goddamn population decides they want to link arms and trot their way off a cliff or some shit, I'm not going to fucking stop them. But taking that autonomy away from a fucking person, I just don't advocate for that. I'm not a violent person. I don't advocate for violence. And to me, whether you're talking about it in a fictional universe and you're talking about the snap of a finger that, just makes a completely random choice, or you're talking about some of the things that have been tried in the bloody history of humanity, population control, the extermination of certain kind of subgroups for the quote-unquote betterment of society. Harassing minorities or outright killing them in the Inquisition. Religious minorities, racial minorities, sexual minorities, all killed. In the name of, there's just the history is fucking endless and long. And so when you talk about it over the course of that, I found myself empathizing slightly with Thanos. I could understand his desire to stop all of the fucking madness. I could understand his desire to bring people together and for them to understand that there's scarcity and that they have to share and share alike and they have to fucking be good to one another, forcing these species to come together or perish. Stopping the inevitable track towards fucking extinction and war that he knew would happen. So he saw himself as a good guy. It's the same position as Defense is in that movie that we've talked about now like 2 or 3 streams in a row. Falling down, right? The end of that movie, I'm the bad guy. Yeah, you're the bad guy. Righteous intentions, poor application. Hello, D. How are you, D? Doing good, D? All right, D. I don't know if Ashley's still on the chat. I don't know. I send her pictures of D every once in a while, but here's a live D. Camera shy he be. Spank butt. I guess that's for Chels too, if she's still chilling. And the rest of you. Yes, Blue Ink. I had a fully grown bull male iguana when I was a teenager. One that probably should not have lived, but did because we stopped taking care of him improperly. Bought at a pet shop, probably with the intention of us taking it home and then it dying because we don't know what the fuck we're doing. We were sold the wrong kind of light for him by the pet shop, or rather, we weren't given the 2 different kinds of light that he needed. And so when he reached his juvenile stage, he started to develop a medical problem known as calcification in his legs. We caught it early, and we happened to have, my mom and I are both very compassionate about animals. And my mom was always, if she had a pet, she's willing to fucking do whatever she can. So she took him down to the vet. The vet told her what was wrong. They gave him some shots, told my mom what kind of light she needed to do. And my mom and stepdad immediately built an enclosure that was gigantic for him, filled it with all the things that he needed. He got better and grew to be over fucking, I'm trying to remember, he was like 7.5 or 8 feet long from nose to tail, to the very tip of his tail. And he was a big male bull iguana, and I had him for a number of years growing up, and there was that. That's the most exotic pet I've ever had. I don't know that I would do another iguana, but having a reptile was a lot of fun at times. A lot of work that I won't lie, mostly my parents did because I was a lazy fucking teenager, so. He was dangerous. He was a dangerous animal. Ultimately, that's why my parents got rid of him. They didn't have him put down or anything, though. They were able to find a wildlife sanctuary that takes very few like donations of animals, because typically people have young, sickly animals that they're hoping that they will nurse back to health. When my mom contacted them, they wrote her back some cursory message about them, having to take very few animals, blah 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 blah. My mom sent back a picture of Iggy, and they almost couldn't believe it. They were like, "Wait a minute, this is your animal?" Yes, this is Iggy. He's, I think at that point like 5 years old or something, and she's like, "He's just too dangerous for us to handle. You can't have him around like grandkids or anything, really any nieces or nephews." And so that place, which was a reptile sanctuary in California, they took him, and he went there, and I assume maybe even is still alive. Iguanas live a pretty good lifespan, so he might even be still alive up there. Who the fuck knows? Wouldn't have taken him if he wasn't a full-grown bull iguana, but he was a real pretty specimen. I wish I could get some pictures of Iggy when he was full-grown for you guys, so you guys could get an idea of his full size. But he was a monster, man. He was a big dude. I know beardies are easy, yes, but I also know that getting one as chill as Nova is like winning the fucking lotto. Not to bring up Nova, but what I know about Nova is what I know about beardies, and I know that Nova was not necessarily typical in terms of activity or chillness or ability to be handled or whatever the fuck. Yeah, I missed a super chat. Sorry about that, yo. Let me take a peeky peek. Are you familiar with the Dark Seed stories? If so, what motivation do you think he could have? I'm not really. That's a DC thing, right? I'm not a DC guy. I grew up right around the time I got into comics, right before the Infinity Gauntlet series, which became Infinity War series, was actually being released as comics. So when I was a kid, and somewhere in a box in my mom's house, I've got original copies of those. They're probably not in great shape because I read them a fucking lot, and they've been in the fucking bottom of a box in an attic forever. But I did have sleeves and shit for them, so my mom's got a little box of some of my comics in it. But yeah, like that, I was a Marvel kid for sure. I was not into DC at all, really. So my DC knowledge pretty much begins and ends with like Batman and the adjacent people around it, and a little bit of Superman, maybe. But I never read any of those comics. I never bought a fucking DC comic ever. Not my fucking. I wasn't into it forever either. I was into it in like junior high, maybe like the first year of high school. Yeah, I did watch Batman the animated series when it was new, and that was a cool one, like I said. So, and I liked the Batman movies when I grew up. I got to see the original Batman and blah 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 blah. Thanks for replying to it. Yeah, thanks for being patient. I'm sorry I missed it. People usually let me know, but you can always let me know if you send me a super chat, and I will do my due diligence and go find it. It's never my intention to miss a super chat. Was it like a phase? Kinda, yeah. I mean, it was kind of like a social chameleon phase. I fell in with a group of kids in junior high One of the guy's parents were Vietnamese immigrants, and he was pretty much the only Asian kid in the school. And it was me and him, and we were kind of like little nerdy outcasts, but not like bullied every second of every day. We were not at the top of the social ladder, but we had a little clique, you know what I mean, of nerdy kids. And that kid, his first name was John, was all up into comics. He was like a hardcore Marvel fanatic type of guy, owned all the cards and owned all the this and that. He got me into the trading cards first. He brought him to school one day and he was like, dude, you got to see these trading cards. And he had some Fleer, like probably 91 Marvel trading cards with like really cool pictures of the dude on the front, and then on the back, like their stats and a little backstory. And I was hooked. I was immediately hooked. I was immediately taken with some of these characters, and so I started collecting those cards. I ended up amassing, I think, an entire 92 top deck or tops. I can't remember which. It was either a Fleer or a top set, and I don't know if I still have it, but I think my mom might have that in a box too, in a binder. But yeah, that was cool. I started buying comics, not because, collecting all those cards and shit. I wanted to know, like, well, what do these crazy characters that I'm learning about get into? And so I started to, like, use my allowance money or the money that I earned mowing lawns and stuff to buy comic books. I would have my dad run me through a comic shop real quick, and I'd go pick up, like, X-Men or fucking whatever. And right around the time I started getting into comic books, I went in and they had a big front rack for the first issue of the Infinity Gauntlet series, which is the series that kind of precedes Infinity War in terms of Marvel canon. It's like how the gauntlet is gotten by Thanos and how it changes hands and yada yada yada. And then you've got like Infinity War, which is where Thanos has gained that power and pretty much all the heroes of the galaxy are aligned against him. And so I got in on the ground floor of that shit, bought the first issue of that shit, and then all of my, I bought the whole fucking series because it was so good. And if you can buy it now, and I really recommend it if you're interested in comics at all, even in a passing way, you can get the whole volume. I actually have it in there somewhere. The whole volume of the Infinity Gauntlet and Infinity War series, a big thick kind of book with all the original art and panels and stuff. A lot of good artwork, a lot of really good story writing, and a really good just comic in general. I kind of fell out of it when I got like a more active social life. Well, I don't mean to like paint it as something that only nerds do or that people can't have active social lives and be comic book collectors, but I think I was more just an enthusiast, and I think I was positively influenced by the people that I was hanging around to get into something that's really interesting. But my social life got more active when I got into high school, and my commitments got more and more too. I fell face first into theater in high school, and I'm talking about like you go to school all day and everybody else gets to get on the bus and go home, and you're there for another fucking 5 hours because you got rehearsals. I was doing that my first fucking year of high school, so it's like my interest in comic books waned. My interest in partying and getting laid went up and doing theater, and my interest in comic books kind of went by the wayside. My expendable income was better spent on like gas to get back and forth to the city with my friends, or gas to buy my food if we're gonna go out that night, or gas to throw down. I got 5 on it, on a 20 sack. You know what I mean? If you guys want to get if somebody can get a 20 sack, I got 5 on it. That was a common thing back in high school. They wrote a whole song about it. Luna's has that "I got 5 on it" that they used for the trailer for Us. That's a banger, an eternal banger, by the way. But that's what that song is about. It's about how we all used to get together back in the day and be like, look, dude, anybody wants to get a fucking bag of weed, I got 5 on it. You know what I mean? We all put 5 on it. All of a sudden, 4 people got a fucking 20 sack, and we can roll up a few J's and get blazed.
Yeah, I don't know if that would fly nowadays. Only putting 5 down.
Nah, that's all. Well, these are '90s prices. You know what I mean? I got 5 on it. Has become like I got 55 on it. If you want to actually get good weed. It's interesting, like weed culture. I was just thinking about it while I was going in there to get more weed to smoke of a different variety than I have out here already. And I was thinking about like weed culture back in the '90s and how like we didn't like, maybe this was weird or regional or whatever, but we didn't really deal in like weights.
Yeah.
Like right now, you buy like a quarter or a half or an ounce, right? We didn't deal in weights as kids. We dealt in like a nickel bag, a dime bag, a 20 sack. Like a nickel bag was like a tiny little thing. You probably roll one joint out of it, maybe, right? And it was $5, and it was mostly shake. But that's okay because you're just gonna roll a joint with it and smoke it, or put it in a bowl and smoke it, right? That was a nickel bag back when I was a kid. Then like a dime bag was like 2 or 3 joints, you know what I mean? You grind that up and you could have a little party, but not really all that much, because back in the day, weed was nowhere near as potent as it is now. So the amount of potency in this, which is a legally purchased pre-roll, is like probably twice the potency of the same fucking joint back in the '90s, easily, maybe even way more, depending on what you got, right? What's he doing?
He went chasing something. Now he's just standing there.
Oh. Oh, D. Chasing that big old boomer squirrel.
I don't know what I think it looked like it was a bird or something.
Yeah. See, lid was like old lingo when I was a kid. My stepdad's generation called it like a lid of weed. For us, it was like a nickel bag, dime bag, 20 sack, and then you started getting into weights and measures and shit. But like none of us ever had enough to buy like a quarter, let alone a half or whatever. You know, we were dealing in like small amounts of weed for one night parties, or like a little 20 sack that you keep to yourself that you smoke on real slow and you just get high on your own if you want. You know what I mean? That's usually what kids had around, you know what I mean? Like it was pretty like customary to keep a little bit of weed on you, like not on you all the time, but so that you could reciprocate being smoked out, because a lot of times you wouldn't have weed. You'd show up to somebody else's house, not just to smoke, but that was part of the reciprocation, right? Like there were leeches and shit who would try and just show up and fucking, oh, there's a party going on over here. You know what I mean? Those types of people were persona non grata, because there was like the stoner's code. It's like, yeah, dude, I came over to your pad the other night when your parents were out, and I didn't have any fucking weed, and you smoked me out. So yeah, dude, I got some weed. Come on over. You know what I mean? There was reciprocation. It was like the honor code. And if you were a moocher, you weren't smoking with us. But thankfully, that never really came up. Like we didn't deal with moochers because, it was just well known back then. You don't mooch. You know what I mean? You come through. If you're gonna get smoked out, great. But you're gonna smoke me out. You know what I mean? Like implied reciprocation, right? And that kept everybody in weed. Like, I was never out of weed because I had friends. Well, I grew up in Cali, so whatever. Weed was a little easier to get for me than a lot of people, probably. But the last mooch I had in my life had to basically be ghosted out of my life. She would smoke for hours with me and barely ever bring shit over. Yeah, see, that ain't working, man. You can't do that shit. You gotta be reciprocal. It was like back when I was fucking, on DP and shit. Like, I spent a lot of time over at TJ's house, and I would bring a little weed or whatever, but he always had this weird cornucopia of fucking weed and shit. He would smoke me out a lot, but it was like any time he was at my pad, weed's on me. Like, Scotty used to tell me, like, he was like, dude, I know not to show up anything but empty-handed over here, Paul Zigo. I was like, I know. Dude, I owe you guys a few smokeouts, so get your ass in here and let's get fucking high, you know what I mean? I miss those days. Those days were kind of fun, man. Me and Scotty used to just kind of chill every once in a while. Scotty'd just show up. Knock, knock, knock. I'd be like, what the fuck is this? I'd look through my peephole and I'd see Scotty. I'd be like, oh, it's Scotty. He'd show up. We'd chill. Get fucking blazed. Do a Highdeology. Those were the days. We thought they'd never end. New DP is on today. Manatee content buffet. Scotty coming over just to get blazed. Those were the days. Did you just make that? I did. I came up with it in like a couple seconds. It's like, how do I do a song about the good old days? I don't know fucking shit about the manatee, bro. I don't know where he's at. Don't care to either. Hey, dude, every good fucking show has to come to an end. You know what I mean? I had a good time on DP. I'm not at the point in my life now where I got like a lot of bitterness about that. It was an experiential fucking boon to me, no matter what I went through on that show. Everybody went through their own personal shit on that fucking show. That was part of the show. Part of the show was like, your personal shit is the show, So, but whatever skin I left down on the table, I chalk it up to fucking great experience and meeting good people, you know what I mean? So all the bitterness is kind of drained out of my life when it comes to, DP and how the way shit went down at the end and all that stuff. And I'm just thankful for the time, I'm thankful for the experience and thankful to everybody that made that possible, including people that don't like me very much. So the way you got to look at it, though, as a performer, everything's experiential history, man. I wouldn't be where I am before if I hadn't a sweat and fucking ground my way through a bunch of stage shows, all the way starting in high school, all the way through college age, all through my 20s. I was on stage, man. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be able to do what I do if I hadn't honed myself in that fucking environment and learned all the adjacent things that come with learning that fucking craft. I learned stage combat. I learned improvisation, which I just put on display for you guys. I learned how to do that like I can come up with a fucking little "those were the days" joke off the top of my head in theater because of theater. The slapstick and the theatricality that a lot of you guys like about the way I present on the show, that's all my theater training, you know what I mean? And that's all my DP training. And so everything I am is because of what I've done. If I'm an expert in anything in my life, it's being in front of people and doing not just this, but whatever it is that's called of me. If I'm an expert in anything in my fucking world, it's that. DP training, yeah, dude. Well, okay, I see what you did there. I know what you, okay, I get it. All right. Not double penetration training, you naughty boy. I'm guessing you don't have a higher gear. That sounded like shit. Like, are you redlining that fucking thing? Anywho, y'all, I think I'm gonna wrap this shit up. Thank you guys so much for chilling. I guess we'll see you next time, right? Bye. Dodge those fucking suggestions.